Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragongate is how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragongate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
What do you guys want to talk about?
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
What has being annoying stopped you ever?
That's an excellent point. Right. An excellent point. That's part of the charm.
Rich Crage.
Corey Graves screaming, perfectly legal, Cole. You can do anything you want in Tribal Combat. It's perfectly legal. While Paul Heyman is just yelling, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat. I'm like, God damn it. Fuck all of you. Fuck this.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
Great, Rich.
Thanks.
How are
Glad
you?
to hear. I am fantastic. Yeah, I was a little worried. We had a storm pass through right as we were about to go live. A little worried maybe we'd get offline or power would go out, but we're good. It seems to have passed, so we're good. So been some crazy storms here. I feel like we're Texas up here these days. We got some of your kind of crazy ass weather like you guys have out there, but not too bad. How's your spring been in Texas weather wise?
It's been mild. It's not that hot yet. So, still wearing like joggers, sweatpants, whatever you want to call them, most days. I even have to wear the hooded zip up.
Oh, no.
Yes, I know. I've got to pull it out of the closet and bundle up. So, no, it's not 110 degrees yet, if that's what you're...
That's good. Yeah. No, I'm more, are you getting like the crazy storms and tornadoes and shit like that? We're getting a lot of that here because our weather keeps like fluctuating between 70 degrees and 30 degrees on like a daily basis, which is not good at all, and causing a lot of turmoil out in the Midwest. We've had tons. We've had like 4 or 5 like touchdowns in Illinois this last month or two, which is not a little early for this to be happening, but yeah, here you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had it's going to rain all weekend where I'm going, but it's a roofed stadium, so that's no problem.
Oh, that's this weekend. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Even
time.
A couple hours.
A couple. Yeah. Look at that. So, what are we looking? What are the Reds looking like right now?
Well, all right. 3-3.
Okay. Yeah.
Baseball. Long season.
Long season. You keep saying that. My White Sox continue to amaze me, though. I don't know, Joe. But how are the Rangers of Texas? Yeah.
White Sox fans are so emo. Just watch the fucking games. Enjoy the rebuild. Stop whining about it. Stop being
hold
negative.
on. No, hold on a minute. This experience is you are putting it very lightly with this experience.
Enjoy the good young players. You got the Japanese guy hitting home runs every night.
Murakami's been solid as hell. Yeah, he's been really, really good. Yeah. He's got a 2-year contract, so he'll be a fucking Dodger in a year. So just figure. That's how I'm looking at it, is that even if he's good, they can't resign. So he's either going to be bad and then they can keep him, or he's going to be good and then his contract's up and then he'll just be a Dodger. So
got to think positively. You can't always be so negative. Why are you always so negative?
What have the White Sox given me that I could be positive about?
This could be the new core. You don't know. You don't know.
It could. Sure.
You got Kyle Teal to look forward to. He'll be off
He's
the
hurt.
DL soon.
He's hurt.
That's what I mean. You got to look forward to. He'll be back soon. Add a little zing to the lineup.
Oh yeah. Keep going. Yeah. What else? What else am I looking forward to?
You guys are scoring runs. That's not really the problem. Putting up some crooked numbers, scoring some runs.
Right. I guess.
Starting pitching hasn't been great.
No. Bullpen
hasn't been great.
No.
Sir Anthony Dominguez, not great in the closer role to this point.
No.
Scoring some runs though. The Japanese guy's hitting well.
He is hitting well. Yeah. Our all-star representative last year is not going quite not too well. By the way, the White Sox are 25th in runs scored, so maybe you should peel back a little bit. Just because your Reds are 27th, tied for 27th, aka tied for second to last, doesn't mean that We have 21 runs. You guys have 17, which that's
6 games into the season.
I'm just saying.
You ever hear of small sample sizes? The hell's the difference? You got there and win. How's your exit velocity? I think the Reds are first in exit velo.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you could be one of those guys.
Which would indicate that the luck has been poor.
Yes. All right. Is that the new BABIP? Do people not use BABIP anymore and they use exit velocity instead?
People love the exit velo.
Okay. Because I'm kind of out of the game. I don't know what's going on anymore. So what's up?
They love exit velo and they love bat speed. And I think the Reds are also first in bat speed. So that means the runs are coming.
What a weird way to be a fan. Like, at least BABIP I got because it was like, all right, when a ball is put in play, typically, it'll be a hit like this many times. And that made sense to me because I was like, all right, yeah. So if you get a run of bad luck, it's like, all right, yeah, you're putting the bat on the ball, and normally that is going to get you, X amount of hits, but your team has this amount of hits, so usually it'll probably regress to that mean a little bit. I don't know if I can get with like, the ball's coming off the bat really fast, but it's like, was it going to somebody? And it's like, well, yeah, it's getting hit right to somebody.
I mean, there's a correlation to exit velo and offensive production, and bat speed obviously leads to the high exit velo. In a nutshell, the Cliff Notes version. People still are into the BABIP. BABIP didn't go anywhere.
Okay, just making sure BABIP's still there. Yeah, I don't want because the new nerds are way too. They've lost me. The new generation of baseball nerds. It's a little too crazy, so I'm out
of the game.
I'm kind of out of the game. Yeah,
you're not a big launch angle guy.
No, once tunneling became a thing, I was like, what are we doing here? I'm out. I don't need this shit.
The thing is, you don't have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
You really don't. The thing, I'll tell you though.
Once I needed a physics degree to like watch baseball, I'm like, I think I'm good. Just give me. I liked some stats here and there, but it got like way too weird about angles and it's a little too much.
The pitching stuff you really don't have to pay attention to you really don't.
Yeah, spin rate and tunneling, and I'm good. I don't need that shit.
Oh, spin rate is so 2021, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm out of the game. I'm out of the game. I don't even know what's in now.
Nobody talks about spin rate anymore. Opening day, someone hit a home run, and we're just sitting there on the couch, and my wife goes, "How hard did he hit that?" And I turned to her and I was like, "What?" She goes, "What was the exit velocity on that home run?"
Oh no, what have you done?
And I just and I looked at her and I said, "That is the sexiest thing you've ever said to me in your life. I've never been more horny."
Talk dirty to me, by AKA talk exit velo.
And I have been in this moment. I'm like, you've come so far in less than a year, because she didn't give a fuck about baseball until that Cincinnati trip. And she learned it there. She was asking me all these questions sitting next to me in the stadium. She was asking me all these questions back at the hotel. I gave her like a crash course in baseball in 72 hours. And then she watched every game for the rest of the season. She lucked out because they were in the middle of a playoff chase.
She had a pretty good. She had a pretty good run with an all-time great player, on the team or whatever. So it certainly.
Where the games had lots of meaning and it was exciting. It wasn't like they're playing out the string to win 67 games it just said 6-7. So she kind of looked out from that standpoint, but now she's just like, she's counting down the days to opening day, turns to me and says, "What was the exit?" She's like, the exit velo. I couldn't believe it. My nipples have never been harder. Right. I mean, it was just.
As you ejaculate immediately. Oh, God. Like, unbelievable.
What I did is I was scrambling for my phone or my laptop. Like, hold on, I'll tell you. Like, I didn't want to lose her in the moment. I wanted to. I'm like pulling the laptop up. I'm pulling up game day. I'm like, it was 105.4. And she's like, yeah, not bad. I'm like, holy. She even knows what a good exit velocity is.
That's pretty good. You got to go on.
It's incredible. It's incredible. She's telling me who the starters are coming up this weekend when we go to when we play the Rangers. So
there it is. Congrats. Yeah, mine's gone the opposite direction. When we first started dating, we would go to White Sox games all the time, and now she has zero affinity for the White Sox, does not care at all. And probably wouldn't go to a game if I even asked her to go at this point. So,
yeah, well, I don't know how did that. Is because the team stinks.
Yeah, the team stinks. She was very invested in the Paul Konerko era of the White Sox, and post Canerco, we went to a bunch of like the final Canerco games, and I probably shouldn't have done that because I think it got a little too nostalgic. We went to like his last, White Sox game and all that sort of stuff, and then she was just like, "All right, I think I'm done forever," and then she never went to another game again. Well, I did get her to go back to a game. The problem was remember when the White Sox they traded some low level prospect, who cares, for James Shields, big game James.
Oh, you can't gloss over that.
Whatever happened to that kid?
Some low-level prospect.
Right, whatever. A-ball guy, whatever. Probably never amounted to anything, I'm sure.
For posterity, because you're not going to get away with this, it was Fernando Tatis Jr. who they traded away for James Shields for a negative war worth of James Shields, I believe.
So for whatever reason, I was just like, you know what? We're gonna go to that game. I gotta watch. We made a big swing here. The White Sox, showing some moxie here, getting big game James, bringing him in here. So we went to his debut. We were like 5 minutes late getting to the game because we went after work, and he had already given up like 4 runs or whatever. We walked in, and I was like, I was at 4-0 already, and then like he got chased like after an inning or whatever. And she was just like, "Can we go?" And I was like, "Well, we should probably just stay for like a little bit." But that was the last little glimmer because I was excited, and then she got like this is the White Sox experience right here. You just lived it right there. I got excited for a minute, and then immediately just a dagger through my heart as big game James just shit the bed immediately as a White Sox. So
he accounted for negative 0.3 WAR in 2.5 years with the White Sox.
Well, I'm sure that Tatis guy, he can't be positive WAR, right? Probably like 20. It's not as,
If it may, well, I mean, you could frame it this way: in between falling off dirt bikes and breaking his arm, and in between steroid suspensions, he's been worth 27.3.
Okay, well, yeah, but you don't want that distraction around your team, so it's it's.
Yeah, who needs all that? Who needs all that?
Who needs all that? I mean, you can get that with a couple of players, 12 or so White Sox, maybe 18. I don't even know if can you accumulate the White Sox last year and to get even to like, I think their leader in WAR last year had like 3 or something like that. It was pretty rough. So
who the last year's White Sox?
Yeah. I think the leader
who would
in WAR
that have
was
been? Miguel Vargas or something?
It was someone like that. It was.
I bet you it was Colson Montgomery in 40 games.
He did accumulate a lot of WAR in a very short amount of time because he actually had. I think he was like second or third on a team in home runs, and he only played 40 games. So
it was your leader in WAR was in fact Colson Montgomery in 71 games, 3.3 WAR.
Yep.
In 71 games because he hit fucking 21 home runs. He just went apeshit after I traded him to Chris Samsa in the AL League. I besmirched him last week, so I figure I'll put him over this week.
For a shrewd play,
I buried Chris Samsa on last week's show in the fantasy league, so I'll put him over. I traded him Colson Montgomery, and
he wanted to set the record straight. You said that he always misses drafts. He claims it was the first draft he has ever missed.
Yeah, well, it was fresh in my mind that he just missed one, so that's why I went with him as the example there. But yeah, to be fair, I think that's. He might be fibbing a little on that. He claims that's the only one that he's missed, but I'm not entirely positive that's true.
I think he's in the chat, so he can defend himself if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in the chat. But yeah, he did get Colson Montgomery from me. So there you go. There's the payback. I gave him, now the egg's on my face. I traded him right before that home run explosion. So I think he had like 3 in a week, and I figured, it's all downhill from here. Right. Let me start dangling this guy.
Yeah, that's smart. It's a smart play. Yeah.
Rookie trade him at peak value.
Yeah, right. Beginner's luck. The league hasn't figured him out yet. He's getting a lot of fastballs or whatever. So yeah.
How many times have you seen that before they know how to pitch a guy?
Right.
And then they figure him out, but no. So there you go. That's my apology to Chris Samsa.
There you go. Yeah, speaking of White Sox middle infielders, that was the Gordon Beckham experience. He came up and hit like 25 homers his first year, and then just from then on, just never
Top
quite.
prospect Gordon Beckham. I will never forget.
Yep.
He's in the cages. He's working hard in the cages.
he would come back. He'd have a new batting stance like every week, and that probably is not. When you're doing that, it's probably not any good. But you'd watch a game and you're like, what's his like legs? Now he's got an open stance and he's got the Gary Sheffield thing going, and you're like, I don't know, man. This is gonna be. You sure this is it? And then like he'd have a bad week, and then he'd close stance with the bat above his head, and you're like, okay, I don't know. Like, I think he should just find something to stick with it. But he just kept changing his batting stance every year and every month, and that didn't seem to go well. And then now he does commentary sometimes for the White Sox. So anyway, we don't need White Sox misery on the top of the show, but I'm really kind of delaying the inevitable of what we have to start talking about on the show. But we are going to cover a bunch of different things this week on the Flagship. We're going to review TNA Sacrifice, which I really have to ask. Can we really stop doing these TNA shows? This is not very good at all. And not even like fun bad, but whatever. We'll talk about it.
Light week. What else are we going to talk about?
Anything else?
We already
talk about Dennis Condrey again or something. I don't know.
We already previewed the 01 anniversary show, which is in a couple of hours. So we can't do that. The AEW pay-per-view isn't until next week. You already previewed the new stuff added to WrestleMania on behind the paywall. We've got Sakura Genesis preview on tap.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some free agents moving around and contracts coming due we're going to talk about. It was a light week. We got to do Sacrifice. What else is going on this week that would take precedence over Sacrifice for that third hour slot?
TNA PLE. I don't know. Anything.
Book it on the fly. Let's go. Book it on the fly.
Stare it on a wall. I don't know. Anything. Kenta Kobashi. He's pretty good. Let's talk about Kenta Kobashi for a little bit. Sting.
It's a light week. Big TNA pay-per-view to break down.
No, it was sir. This is a TNA Plus premium live event. This was not a Rebellion is the big pay-per-view. All right.
If there was anything else to discuss, it might have gotten bumped. But it's a very light week.
We need MLW. You know what? Here's the problem. MLW, can you just hire a fucking editor? Can we go?
Seriously.
This is killing me. They're done. They're done. I am not, because now it's going to take forever for them to catch up. I'm good. I think we have to throw the towel in on MLW.
Listen, it's fucking April, and they're not having. We're more than a quarter of the way through the year. I don't think we're getting much MLW this year.
But they keep signing people, and they keep having events, and they keep presumably taping said events, but then they keep having, you go to their website, they're still looking for an editor to edit Fusion.
Is that really the holdup?
I think so. I can't.
They just have no one to put the show together.
That job is still available. It says it on their website. It says they are looking for the issue probably is it says they're looking for somebody who has a background in editing pro wrestling TV shows, which, I mean, it's kind of a small list of people that you could hire. But yeah, here we go. Jobs MLW. Let's see if it's still available. Assembly editor for MLW Weekly Series. Here we go. Major League Wrestling is seeking a highly skilled assembly editor with proven experience assembling weekly professional wrestling program. First off, you don't need to have somebody who has professional wrestling weekly programming editing experience. Just find anybody that can edit. You can teach them how to edit a wrestling show in 5 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. This is a fast-paced creative position where precision, speed, and deep knowledge of the sport are essential. You must have a reel showcasing your work as an assembly editor on pro wrestling content. So again, the mandatory requirement is that you have a reel of editing a weekly professional wrestling show. Who does that entail? It's like, how many people have that?
Not a lot of people.
That's like,
but here's the thing: 11
people in the history of wrestling. What are you doing?
I understand. Yeah, there might be like 11 living people who can do the requirements.
Right?
Of that.
You're gonna get Keith Mitchell out of retirement. They already had Keith Mitchell there. Like, there's the list of people that have edited weekly professional wrestling programming is very small.
Very small. Very small. I mean, instead of putting up an ad, they should have just sent emails to those 11 people. Right? Like, what's the point of even having the job ad up?
Right.
I mean, who's that reaching that have those qualifications?
The second mandatory requirement is you must have prior experience assembling a weekly professional wrestling series as an editor. Again.
Yeah, that's like 11.
Is there a random person that you don't know who can fit that mold? Like, no, if you, like you said, just send an email to the 15 people in the history of wrestling that have edited weekly television that are alive,
still alive,
and ask if they want to hit the job.
Like,
yeah.
You know of every one of them. Yeah, it's. But here's the thing. I understand they're still looking to fill that role, but isn't someone doing it currently in
No, clearly not, or else we'd have a Fusion. I get an email every so often that says MLW Fusion coming soon, and it's the same fucking video that says MLW Fusion coming in 2026, and I'm like, all right. And the last show they have is Battle Riot, which was in fucking February 5th, I think.
Isn't being like, hey man, where's the content that we're presumably paying for?
I don't know. Are they just getting old episodes? I have no idea. It's so weird.
Does anyone in the chat have BN on their cable package? Because DirecTV no longer has it. I can't check on this.
I don't have BN
in the chat
either.
Listen, if anyone in the chat, if you could check your cable systems, your fucking whatever you've got. If anyone has access to BN and their schedule let us know if they're actually airing any kind of MLW content, because BN is like the most non-fucking broadcast outlet. I mean, nobody has it. Does it even really exist? It isn't impossible that they folded and Court's just like making it up that they have some deal with BN, because who has BN? No one has.
I have no
BN.
idea. I've never even. Have you ever like?
I used to have it.
Okay, and you knew you had it, and you turned it on once or whatever.
Well, I used to like remember they aired one of the Battle Riots live on there one of those years.
Oh, that's
remember
right.
That?
Yeah.
So and Fusion was actually worth keeping up with. If you were, it was like I used to have but I don't have the channel anymore. So they did a whole ass Fusion taping at the Battle Riot show, but where is any of it airing? I would like to watch Austin Aries versus Trevor Lee. I would like to watch that, Rich, but you're making it impossible for me to watch it. They did another Fusion taping in Atlanta in March, and who's watching this? No one talks about it. I mean, Austin Aries is like a title holder there now. I mean, there's a lot going on. In the world of
Okamura
MLW.
and Kushida have joined Contra Unit, but that happened 4 months ago.
And that's where we left off. And it's
right.
like, we got the big Charleston, South Carolina show coming up, and there's just, but who's
they
watching
scooped
this?
up Lady Frost immediately. Lady Frost was, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And they immediately said MLW has secured the rights of Lady Frost. And to do what?
Bro, they're signing wrestlers. They're running tapings, but where's the content? What's happening? How are they monetizing any of this? Like, what is going on? I mean, they're slipping into NWA territory.
They really are, yeah. And there's someone in the chat room said, "Come on, Rich, take the job." I literally couldn't take the job. I've spent my entire adult life editing video, but I don't have prior weekly professional wrestling editing experience. So I actually do not. I have of the mandatory requirements. It says if you do not meet this criteria, your application will not be considered. You must have strong knowledge of the sport of pro wrestling, the MLW product, and its presentation style. I'm there. I got it. I'd be perfect for that. I know pro wrestling. I know MLW product. I know the presentation. So I have one of the 3 mandatory requirements. I do not have a reel showcasing my work as an assembly editor of professional wrestling content, and I don't have prior experience assembling a weekly professional wrestling series as an editor. So I literally couldn't apply to the job, even though I've edited video my entire life. And I have everything else, all the responsibilities. I'm in. I got all of them, but nope, I don't have prior weekly editing experience, so I'm out.
So this is credit Griffin Peltier, who's in the chat, and I just saw him talking about it, and he reminded me of this. But he actually tracks the MLW Fusion viewership on BN, or at least was tracking it in 2025, and he sent me over the spreadsheet a couple months ago, and I was waiting to use it for a piece of content that never happened because we don't have any access to MLW.
What's the point of talking about him? Yeah.
But some of these numbers will blow your mind. The most viewed episode of Fusion that we have data for in 2025 was Battle Riot 7, which had 11,000 total viewers. Okay? That was the highest number. There are 2 episodes of Fusion, Blood and Thunder 2025 and Fightland 2025, that had 0 total viewers in the P2 Plus. 0 measured viewers.
The classic 0 viewers. All right.
Yeah. Even the Battle Riot, none of them did a rating in 1849. They're all 0.00 in the 1849. Too small to be measured. But I will read you the total viewership for the Fusion episodes last year in order, from Super Fight in February right down to Don Gato Live last November. These is total viewership now. 1,000, 1,000, 11,000, 5,000, 3,000, 0, 0, 1,000, 2,000.
Okay, my first question is, what got the 11,000?
I told you, Battle Riot.
Oh, Battle Riot. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Battle Riot did 11,000. Everything else did between 5,000 and 0.
0.
So what you have here on BN is if this is an ad split, what are they splitting? I mean, let's $100. I mean, I'm not being
0
facetious.
divided by 2 is still 0. So.
And if BN is paying for this content, what are they paying to average 2,000 viewers a week? Well, I mean, what are they paying for that?
Right.
So, but again, we don't know if it's because we can't find anyone that has BN. So I have no idea if it's still, and as Griffin notes in the chat, those were the live shows. Those were each of the live shows for each month. So I think they replay, like they break them into half hours and replay them as fusion episodes. So I don't know, but I can't find anyone that has BN to know what they're doing with all these tapings that they're doing. These tapings have like 10 matches.
I know
on them.
they have
It's
a
not
lot.
like
They
they're
have
taping
tons of content. So it's going to be eventually when they do hire this mythical person that they could hire. We're going to be so far behind, and it'll be NWA territory. We're going to be watching stuff that was taped in February. That Lucha show that was taped in February in Chicago is going to air in July, maybe. If they even hire a guy, it's just why. And I'm looking at their YouTube, and they are still doing uploads, but it's like really nothing. I mean, they did all the Battle Riot stuff a month ago. Since then, they've uploaded a Mystico match from 2024. That was 3 weeks ago. They uploaded Ultimo Guerrero versus Esfinge from Fightland 2025 2 weeks ago. And then 6 days ago, they uploaded Jacob Fatu versus Filthy Tom Lawler from an old episode of Fusion. And that's it. Members only. Remember how they had their little members only section? That they have no new uploads since Myron Reed versus Ariel Dominguez 9 months ago was the last upload that they had.
Anyone still paying for that? Like, what's that cost per month?
Certainly hope not. Yeah, let's see. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I try to join, but I have to get to I have to switch my YouTube channels, and that'll cause a.
Yeah. I could do it. Hold on. All right.
So go to youtube.com/@MLDub and then try to join. Give me a.
Sir, come on. I subscribe to MLW.
I don't need the URL. Are you kidding?
You think I got to do a detailed search for this? All right. So let's see. Join. It's $1.99 a month.
Okay. To get nothing.
But you get nothing.
Literally nothing. You've got
that's not a value.
The last 9 months, you've gotten zero content.
Yeah, for the last 9 months, let me check in on my ML Dub subscription.
Still Ariel Dominguez versus Myron Reed Lightning match. And the best part too is if you look at are you looking at the members only content?
Yes.
Between the Ariel Dominguez Myron Reed Lightning match that was 8 minutes long, that was 9 months ago, and it looks like 12 months ago you had MLW Reloaded 2025. So in between, like you got nothing for months and months and months on end, and then they said, "All right, here you go, guys.
Yeah,
here's Myron Reed versus Ariel Dominguez in a Lightning match. Sorry, here's your content, and then that's all you've gotten since then. So yeah, a horrible value, a terrible value.
I think I know what's happening here. They have 0 subscribers, so they're not uploading anything, right?
Well, they have nothing to upload.
You ever see they have plenty to upload. I mean, that's not a problem. They tape 12 matches.
Well, no, the edit. None of it's edited though. That's the problem.
I just feel like they probably have no subscribers, and they're like, "Why are we going to burn off? Why are we going to put stuff?" But the problem is, people look at this and go, "Oh, $1.99. What do I get? Oh, I don't get anything."
Yeah. Nothing.
So how do you get subscribers if you don't upload anything? It's you have to just keep pumping it out. It's like if you roll out a Patreon and you crack your knuckles and you have 2 subscribers. Well, you have to give those people content, not just to give those people who are paying you content, but to get other people to subscribe, because if they see you're not doing anything, you're not going to get anybody else. So it's just, I don't know what's going on over in MLW. I had someone speculate that perhaps Court Bauer is now working for Danny McBride and his production company, which is why he moved the company to South Carolina to be closer to Danny McBride.
I don't think they rented office space in Charleston.
Now listen, but that's not a bad
No, it's not a bad theory.
No, it's not a bad theory, because it certainly seems like the attention is not there as much as it used to be, and you can kind of point to the Danny McBride hookup and the South Carolina shows as kind of the inflection point of when they stopped pumping out regular content. But who was editing their videos before? Where's that guy? Why can't you just pay that guy?
I don't know.
Buy that as the reason they're not putting content out. There has to be.
I think that's it though. They don't have an editor. I mean, they're desperately looking for somebody to edit their weekly show. I mean, that you read that job description, that's exactly what they don't have is somebody to edit the weekly television show, and that's why you don't have a show. I mean, Marquez was there for a while. Dave Marquez was, and then of course they had their snafu in Chicago, and then he got let go. And then David Sahadi was there for a while too. Obviously, former WWE TNA guy, and then he left around the same time that Marquez did. So I don't know.
Down to 9. We're down to 9.
That's exactly my point. Is like those are 2 of the guys that you would have. Right. Like I was saying, you could call David Sahadi, and I forgot he was there and left. So it's like, all right, well now I don't know who you call because it's Keith Mitchell, David Sahadi, David Marquez, and then whoever the grunts in WWE are, and that's essentially, I mean, that's kind of it of your weekly. Who's editing Juggalo Championship Wrestling? I guess you can hire that guy who edits Lunacy. I don't know. It's so strange. But I think that's it. I mean, that's the job that they're looking to hire, which somebody told us that they just tweeted out about this earlier, that they're still looking for this person. Let me confirm that. That's the holdup, I think, is they don't have anybody to edit the show, which just seems insane. Absolutely insane. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
that's a good theory, though, that Court got a job with Dani, but the problem is they're still hiring people and they're still running shows. That would be the thing. If they weren't running shows,
it's so weird.
I'd buy it, but they're running shows and they're taping shows. They're just not releasing them, which leads me to believe that this job where they need an editor is still going unfulfilled.
Okay, well, here's the other thing too. At this point, you see their viewership. You see how they very obviously have no YouTube subscribers for $1.99 a month. Their primary revenue driver is live tickets and sponsorships. Has to be. So, of course, you're going to keep running shows because that's where you're making all your money. Because you can't be making money on that TV at those numbers. So, I guess the priority wouldn't be to get the footage up if the footage really isn't netting you anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at their free YouTube videos, they're still putting those up. About once a week, they're putting a video up. And they're doing, like, at max, 30 or 40,000 views, which, as you know, pays nothing. Pays, like, literally nothing. 40,000 views, what is that, $1, $2, whatever? So the ones that are all below that, 3,000, 6,000, 1,000, it's making literal pennies.
Right.
We can speak to that. It makes literal pennies. Yes. So their YouTube makes nothing because they don't even have a couple. All right, some of them pop. Festus Enters Battle Riot did 643,000.
God
views.
help us. Yeah.
But again, that's okay money if you're like a YouTube creator or something. But if you're a wrestling company, what was it? A couple $100? That's nothing.
Right. The expenses far outweigh. Yeah, the expenses far outweigh whatever they're making for that video.
Yeah, I mean, it's good if you're a random soy face guy who's just making some extra money, but it's and that's one video that popped off real big. And I'm scrolling down, I don't see anything else even in that universe. People were really into Festus, huh? It's so weird what catches on YouTube. There's just a handful over 100,000 views, and that seems to be the biggest one that they've had in the last 6 months or so. I'm not gonna do an endless scroll and keep going. I mean, even stuff with like MJF only has like 8 or 10,000 views.
At some point, you would think that the YouTube stuff and the release of the TV shows or whatnot would be kind of a loss leader to try to, get the name out there, make people watch, then buy tickets live. Yeah. But I guess so I think maybe they're just kind of playing out the strings of, okay, we're able to sell enough tickets to these shows for now. And like you said, the long-term growth of MLW does not matter anymore. And it's just kind of, let's play this string out as long as we can. And then, when it's over, when we decide it's done, it's just done. Maybe that's the play. I don't know. The thing that someone mentioned, I don't know who said that. That's a very keen idea there, is that Bauer maybe linked up with McBride.
Yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Yeah, because if you sort this by most popular videos, the only 2 recent ones are Festus and then Ray Phoenix and Penta versus LA Park, and HOD LA Park from 11 months ago is also over 600,000 views. Everything else is from years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. Hey, yawning over there? Am I putting you to sleep?
No.
Am I putting you to sleep, Craig?
No yawn.
All right, so there's impromptu MLW talk. We're not,
because that's all we have. Yeah, just to let people know, we might be done. MLW might be done. There's nothing to talk about.
It is done. What are we supposed? We don't have anything to talk about.
Well, even then, when they come back, it's like, I don't know.
If they come back, I'll talk about them again, but I can't talk about them if I can't watch.
Right, but
am I
I'm of the mindset that if they release stuff and it's like months behind, I'm only going to watch stuff if it's like live or it just happened. Like that's been our stance for a while on this show.
Right.
Is that
well, yeah, if when they come back, if they're putting out the shit from January, I'm on board with you. I'm not jumping in
because people used to do that about back in the peak of PWG, where people would say like, "Oh, why aren't you guys covering Bola?" And it's like Bola happened like 3 months ago, man. Do you really want me in October to talk about Bola? Like, no, a thousand things have happened.
We talk current events here. Well,
right.
I can't go back in time and hop in my DeLorean and fucking go back in time. I mean, I got to talk about what's going on now. So I agree. But if they, but anyway, look. They've left a giant void in the third hour of these shows.
They
have. You had to watch Sacrifice.
That has unfortunately been filled by.
And you have to preview NXT. That's how it goes.
TNA Sacrifice and NXT Stand and Deliver. We'll get to those a little bit later. We'll talk about Sakura Genesis, as you mentioned. New Japan Sakura Genesis coming up this weekend as well. John Cena guest hosting WrestleMania, so we'll discuss what's going on with WWE and WrestleMania and their ticket sales. That's going to relate to Stand and Deliver as well, which is, again, supposed to be on WrestleMania weekend, but is happening this weekend instead, and not exactly blowing the doors off of the box office there either. And we'll talk about contracts, not necessarily contract season, but a lot of movement going on in the world of wrestling, people departing, coming back, returning, moving, all that sort of stuff. Before we do that, though, we do need to at least address this. Now, it's pretty new news as of earlier today, but Janel Grant, update in the Janel Grant case. She has a new 40-page sworn affidavit that was filed about the lawsuit against Vince McMahon, WWE, and formerly Johnny Laurinaitis. I think Laurinaitis is officially out of that because he was in and then he was out and then he was in and then he was out. I think he's officially out of the lawsuit now, and it's just Vince McMahon and WWE, but I apologize if I have that incorrect. But some new details in there, some new allegations, of course, from Janel Grant. Some of the big picture stuff, as I've just kind of browsed through it, I have not read the whole 40-page thing.
We should make clear what she did. The reason for this statement, this affidavit, is it's opposing the arbitration. So she provided more firsthand details of her experience and some new allegations that have emerged and things like that. And in particular, really dragged Nick Khan into this stronger than has ever been done before. So that's why this new statement came out. That's why this affidavit is out there. Everybody can read it. There's links everywhere. But that's the purpose of this. It's to oppose the arbitration.
Yes, yeah. So in opposition to that arbitration, a lot, this new 40-page affidavit came in with many new allegations. But like you said, one of the big picture stuff, the stuff that people are most picking up on is Nick Khan's involvement, and not necessarily in assaulting her, but being aware of what was going on and being aware that he knew of the relationship, that he talked about her being a corporate liability, and just other aspects of Nick Khan being like him. She alleges that him pretending that he is not 100% aware of what was going on, when it was going on, and how, and the details of what was going on. She basically alleges that that's total horseshit, and he was well aware. Him and Brad Bloom were very aware of what was going on.
Well, she now alleges that that's why Bloom was out of the company, because he questioned Vince on it, and she alleges that that's why he was fired. Here's what she said about Nick Khan specifically in one instance. It says, in August 2020, Nick Khan was announced as WWE's new president and chief revenue officer. In hindsight, I view Nick's arrival as the moment my life changed for the worse. My fears about reporting the abuse were realized when I learned from Vince that he put the company's new president, essentially his second in command, on notice of his ongoing sexual conduct with me. Nick never asked me whether the relationship was consensual. Instead, Nick also waited for Vince to finish engaging with me sexually during meetings. End quote. So yeah, there's a lot of other. Here's the Brad Bloom stuff. Brad Bloom and Nick Khan were aware of her relationship. I think it's
Blum. I think somebody got mad at us last time when we called him Bloom. Okay. I think it's Blum. I believe it's Blum.
So Brad Blum and Nick Khan were aware of her relationship with Vince. Blum figured it out while Khan was told by Vince. Now this is. I'm passing this along. This is BJ Bethel who went through all of this and tweeted about it this morning. He goes on to say, Grant says early into her being forced to meet with Laurinaitis for sex, she attempted suicide. She told McMahon, who brushed her off and told her to not be late for a meeting with Laurinaitis. And she says she was forced into sexual contact with multiple WWE talents by Vince.
So that's a new part, by the way. That we should note that is new. We knew about Brock Lesnar, and there's some other details in this thing about Brock Lesnar, but that is the first time that she alleges that other talents were involved, and I believe she even she doesn't name names, but she says other talents and a referee were a part of this. And that is the new thing that I kind of highlighted and went, oh, okay, because if there's other talents involved, that now implicates a couple other people. So she alleges, now we don't know what that talent, if that meant wrestlers, I assume that meant wrestlers, by the way that a talent was, in the way that company refers to wrestlers as talent very often. So that's what I read it as. But again, no one's named. Brock Lesnar's named, but no one else is named. I just thought that was interesting because that's the first time we've heard of other people being involved and not just Laurinaitis, McMahon, and Brock Lesnar.
Claims she was once beaten, had her hair torn, and suffered a violent sexual act by Vince in preparation for a meeting with Lesnar. Now, those meetings with Lesnar, I don't think ever happened. Didn't weather get in the way?
Weather got in the way, and then one time he got too drunk or something like that, so it didn't work out. But they had a bunch of different. We do get a little bit. We know that Brock Lesnar's texting pseudonym, and what's gonna suck is this is gonna be the new thing. People are gonna laugh about this.
Yeah.
Polish Joe was his pseudonym, so we're gonna get a lot of Polish Joe jokes. And not realizing that you're joking about a person alleging really, really terrible things, including sex trafficking, because there's Lesnar under the pseudonym Polish Joe requesting nude photos or whatever, asking her to take videos of her peeing and urinating and stuff, and then asking her to travel to Chicago for a sexual encounter while Monday Night Raw was being taped, which again is another aspect of this because that is now trafficking across state lines and telling her you need to travel so you can go and engage in sexual encounters with Brock Lesnar.
All right, so I want to correct this. It wasn't Blum. It was Grant says it was inferred to her by McMahon that WWE General Counsel Brad Nurse was fired.
Nurse, that's right.
For asking Blum and McMahon about the relationship. So it was
we talked
Nurse
about him initially. Yeah, Nurse was the guy who it feels like the second he found out, he was like, well, this isn't good, guy. Because I remember from the original complaints, he was the guy that we looked at where the second he learned, it felt like he kind of said, whoa, this isn't good. And he was out very quickly thereafter.
And she alleges it's due to him asking Blum and McMahon, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
With this woman. So that's, again, these are all her allegations in her affidavit put out today. And along those same lines, there's another one here as well where hold on, I'm trying to find it. Let's see, because this one is linked and I want to make sure this one is actually, this one will make your heart drop out of your chest if you haven't heard this.
Oh, is it that the McDivitt one?
Yeah, let me see.
While you're finding that, there was another thing that I remembered now that I'm looking through my notes about Khan and the relation there is that according to Grant, both McMahon and Khan, and she implies that Nick Khan definitely knew about this, said that when she was going to leave the company that they were going to find her a new job at either NBC or ESPN, and Khan was basically saying, with my media connections, I can get you, away from WWE and get you a job somewhere else or whatever as part of the, potential, not necessarily the NDA or whatever, but a little bit of let's she wants to leave, and obviously this thing has gotten way out of hand, so I'll move her to rehoming her or whatever to a different job, and then that will sort of appease her in the meantime. But again, it's implied that Nick Khan and his connections, and he made it known that his connections could possibly get her a job elsewhere when she left WWE.
Well, the idea that Khan didn't know anything, we have him basically telling Bill Simmons in 2023 that Vince kept them up to date on everything and that he knew everything. And that Vince was very diligent in keeping them up to date and letting them know everything. So that was obviously, that contradicts the idea that he wouldn't have known because he says it's right straight from his mouth when he was asked about it. I cannot find this now. I had it at the ready, and now I lost it.
I think it's number 97 if you want to look up the number, if that's the one that you're thinking of.
Yeah, I think it is. Let me get back to these other. Do you have it in front of you?
I can find it in real. I have it. Just let me go
let me
my
get back
notes
to these
quick.
other ones then. Grant describes several alleged rapes and injuries she suffered from McMahon and Laurinaitis, which often led to her blacking out. She says she blacked out the first time McMahon forced himself on her. She described an alleged request by Lesnar for a video of her urinating. We talked about that. McMahon monitored almost all of her communications, photos, and videos. Vince told her she shared her private videos with, quote, thousands, and that thousands had likely seen her. Grant said she suffered migraines, major health issues, massive depression, and stress due to the abuse, which included constant statements of Vince of how she was causing him trouble. She says she tried to quit several times. So those are some of the quote-unquote highlights, lowlights, whatever you want to call them, from the
certainly not
from
highlights.
the affidavit. Did you find that?
I did, yeah. So it's
it's
number 97 for people that are going to actually go through this. So they're all labeled, and says Vince had an immediate answer to my question about who in WWE's legal department would see any paperwork related to me. Vince replied that no one would see it because these agreements do not go through the legal department. He said paperwork will go to K&L Gates, which is Jerry McDivitt's law firm. Jerry McDivitt, obviously Vince McMahon's longtime lawyer, where it will be put into a dusty drawer along with, quote, the others.
The others. Mm-hmm. Put in a dusty drawer with the others. If that does not send chills up your spine, I don't know if you're human. That is an insane quote. Don't worry about it. We'll throw it in a dusty drawer with the others.
And the fact that it goes through McDivitt's firm and not a corporate, this is a giant corporation. It's a publicly traded company at this point, and these sort of things are going through his personal attorney. I mean, that's, it's, and McDivitt's, of course, good God, if you know Jerry McDivitt's history and what he was able to, help Vince with many times along the way. I mean, the guy won a lot of cases for WWE and for Vince McMahon. So yeah, just awful stuff. Yeah.
And as opposed to further distancing themselves from Vince McMahon, he is being cited in storylines currently for WrestleMania.
That was my next point. Is I love that this comes out this week, while Vince McMahon was cited as like a babyface figure on Monday by Cody Rhodes. Him saying, Stephanie saying you're nothing like your father, and then Cody saying, well, yeah, you're nothing like yours, was meant to be. Oh yeah, Stephanie's not as good as Vince.
Was meant to be trashing Stephanie.
Yes, positive Vince trashing Stephanie. You can't live up to your father's legacy.
Yeah,
this week,
it's essentially
that guy
this week on WWE TV. Now, you would think that even if everyone in the company was steadfast in that they were innocent because they're being sued here, if Vince is innocent, if they just are steadfast in their belief that Janel Grant is just looking for payouts or whatever, you would think that you would still distance yourself from Vince, at least in the interim, until all of this gets settled. But they are just so arrogant that somebody writes this, somebody pitches this. A writer, whether it was Cody, whether it was Stephanie, whoever.
Doesn't matter.
And this gets cleared for television. Yes, great idea. Let's say that. Let's do this. I mean, do any of these people have, it's just, I was going to say, do any of these people have any common sense, or forget decency? We know they don't have any decency. No, that's
out the door. Yeah, decency's out the door.
But do any of these people even have any common sense from a legal perspective? And do any of these people even stop to think how it blows your mind? How does this even get pitched? How does it not get stopped from being? How does Levesque allow that on the air? I mean, the buck stops with him, Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque. How does he allow that on his television? It's mind-blowing strictly from a legal perspective. How arrogant they are.
Right.
Set aside decency and respect, and just from a cover your own ass perspective, how does that get on TV?
They don't care. They're just Teflon. They think they're Teflon. I mean, we talked about it with the Liv Morgan angle. Was it 2 years ago or a year ago? I mean, that is just blatantly rubbing Janel Grant's nose in it, and they knew it. And Janel Grant knows. I mean, it was listed and cited in future discussions with Janel and her lawyers. Is like they did this, like what this angle is, and we called it out at the time, and so few people talked about it. And I guess I was gonna say I couldn't believe it, but I absolutely can believe it that so few people picked up on what that was. But we talked about it and just how blatantly. They knew what they were doing with that angle. There's no way that, and they can pretend, it's just an accident or whatever. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious what they were referencing there, and it was just rubbing her nose in it, and just saying, we don't care. We are Teflon. Nothing, it will not hurt us. It will not affect us. Nothing ever does. We're always going to make out better in the end. We're always going to win. We always win, and we always will win. That's their attitude.
So anyway, BJ Bethel at BJ Bethel tweets. He summarizes the first 8 or so in a Twitter thread. We went over some of the more salacious ones. The awful. I mean, number 97 is just
that one. Yeah, I read that one. I just went.
You read that and your jaw hits the floor. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, that one is just outrageous. And obviously, there were some others. Number 29, as I noted earlier, with the Nick Khan stuff. But it's all there. I mean, you can find the links for yourself if you want to go through it. Those are just some of the, as I said, highlights, lowlights, however you want to term it. I don't need anybody misquoting me if I call them highlights, but I think everyone understands what I mean by that. So Grant continues to fight back hard and fight this, oppose the arbitration, which was the purpose of this release today. So there's your latest on Janel Grant.
Yeah, the one last one I'll kind of leave you with as well. Another allegation too, and I forgot to note this one, which is pretty gross. Two was one allegation is that Brock Lesnar, in preparation for an encounter with Brock Lesnar, she says that Vince McMahon basically beat her up and was real physical and real rough because she said that's what Brock's going to want to do. So I'm going to get you ready for it or whatever, which is just fucking terrible. Yeah, if any of the, I mean, even. If all of this is true, of course, but even if any of this is true, it's just God. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And maybe somebody will be asked about it at some point. Maybe someone from that company will have to say something, but
maybe Paul got around to reading the complaint, the original complaint, and maybe
right, or maybe he just read this
eventually.
affidavit. This one's only 40 pages, so maybe he said, this one's pretty long. Maybe I'll just read this one.
Maybe he hasn't read any of it still, which is why this shit gets on the air. Maybe that's his excuse.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know what's in there because I don't ever read it. So,
insane.
Yeah, it's just, especially, and it's so poignant too, coming this week when, like you said, Vince was used in Madison Square Garden, was used as a storyline figure. Brock is on TV every week, an essential part of WrestleMania. And it's just, if that doesn't tell you that they don't care and they don't think that this is going to hit them or touch them in any single way, I mean, there it is right there.
Well, Brock was persona non grata for at least a few months after the original complaint was filed, but that didn't stop them from eventually bringing him back. Their audience does not care. I'm not even necessarily making a value judgment on their audience. I think there's certainly a portion of the audience that is aware of the complaint and doesn't care. But I also think that there's probably a larger portion of the audience than any of us would like to admit that don't know about any of this stuff.
Correct.
That don't have their nose in the news, don't pay any attention, don't care, separation of art and entertainment, and whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. And they just aren't aware, or, and they're, not to say that there isn't a portion of their audience, and you go no further than Twitter to find them, that are well aware and don't care. And in fact, think it's funny, and they don't believe her, and they think she's just, out to make a buck.
Mm-hmm. I would advise you not to read the comments on any of these because it is exactly what you think it would be every single time.
It's actually, and probably a little worse in some cases.
Yeah.
You probably can't even.
I did that earlier and I just went, okay, I should have done that. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, but my point is, look, eventually brought him back. And I think at this point, it wouldn't be wild to assume that they're potentially setting up Vince coming back at some point. I don't think they would be as so bold as to bring him back before all of this is settled. Even their lawyers, who clearly aren't screening what makes their television product, I don't even think their lawyers would allow that. That would just be completely outrageous. But look, if you're going to mention him on the air, I mean, we're
what's going on over there?
I've turned it off 3 times, but these fucking phones, you turn it down, but you have to go into the other menu and then turn down the volume. It's fucking ridiculous. That better be the last time. These aren't even important. Yes, TurboTax. My fucking yes.
The IRS will get their money.
The IRS is taking a gigantic chunk of my net worth very soon. Yes, thank you for the update. Yes, I think that most people wouldn't be shocked at all at this point if they're prepping a full on Vince comeback at some point.
Yeah, I always wonder about that and like the actual benefit to that, and it feels like the company has moved on. Like I feel like they should, but then he gets directly referenced in a storyline, and then I'm like, maybe not. And it might be, again, so brash of them just to say, and so brash of Vince to just say, hey, put me back on. I want to let everybody know that I won, one last time or whatever. I beat, because he loves. I mean, God, when he after this all came out, remember he went on SmackDown to do his goodbye or whatever, and they introduced him as, Stephanie went out there and said, my father, Vince McMahon, or whatever, and he came out and they popped a rating so he could say that he's retiring or whatever. The story was that when he got back through Gorilla, he just said, fuck him, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just defiance from beginning to end. So I could absolutely see how, like you said, once anything's resolved in this, that they might want to just to have one last defiant thing. Now, I don't know that there's any. To me, it would be like, let's just move on. The company has kind of moved on without him. We don't really need him. There's really no benefit to it. But it might just be enough people in that company. It feels like enough people in that company just want to maybe do one last, swagger, puffy chested look. We got away with it again.
Hey, listen, he would sell tickets. Don't think for one second.
Oh, and he would get the bows. Are you kidding? People would bow. Yeah, he'd sell tickets. Vince McMahon returns to WWE, would absolutely sell tickets.
There's a scenario here where let's just say she settled tomorrow. Terms undisclosed. He's going in the Hall of Fame next year. They'll put his ass in the Hall of Fame. They'll bring him out on that stage for WrestleMania. Look, and he'll draw money.
Yeah.
Rich, people don't care.
They don't.
They don't care. People don't care for a variety of reasons. A lot of people just
you deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve
it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Doing the bow, doing the bowing before him, type thing, No chance. God.
In a dusty drawer with the others.
Yep.
Chilling.
Yeah. Don't love that. Don't love that at all. All right, well, there's that. This is always the worst. The transition to we used to have to ads, and we'd have to do all right, then this person, sexually assaulted this person. All right, so let's talk about
call off the dick pill ad this week.
Right,
which is what you got to do in that situation.
Yeah.
Very awkward, tugging collars, But luckily, we don't get ads anymore.
Right,
so
right.
we don't have to worry about
I don't have to
that.
hawk HelloFresh. All right, you know what is good, Joe? HelloFresh. Yeah. Factor meals that come to your house. Yeah, that Janel Grant assault allegation's not good, but what is good is Factor.
all the ads are pre-rolls and mid-rolls that everybody fast forwards, and so we make no money. That's what all the ads are.
Yeah,
no more.
Make
reads.
some money.
Make some money. Oh, okay. Where's your gold boat, sir?
it's in docks.
Where's your gold boat?
Yeah.
You've been complaining about that boat for 15 years, and I don't think you're out on Lake Michigan.
No, I've given it up. Yeah. No, I just need to know. Yeah. I wanted a friend with a boat, but at this point, I don't even know if that's going to happen. So I just need me and my friends to rent a boat maybe once is about where I think I'm at with my days. Because, my dreams of having a friend that would own a boat are quickly dwindling too. So it's all right. You know what? At this point, I don't even know if I want to be on a boat for that long.
Boats stink.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on a boat.
No, I don't want to be.
You don't want to be on a boat. You don't.
Because I'm stuck and I'm I don't want to, because you don't want to get on the boat and you're just I'm kind of over this and we're pretty far out and I don't want to spend all day doing this. Yeah, I get seasick too. So I'm
I get sick in the fucking bay. I forget the sea. I can't. I get sick. Yeah, boats stink. Everybody who buys a boat instantly regrets buying a boat, too.
Yeah.
Anyone I've known that had a boat, they're like, do you know anyone who wants to buy a boat? I'm like, you bought that boat 6 months ago. No,
Right. No, I don't know anybody. Yeah.
Even the cons are trying to sell that super yacht.
The
Did you
super
see that?
yacht. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that for pennies on the dollar if they want. But
that's another thing where there's only like 6 people that could buy it. So what are you even putting an ad up for? Just call the 6 people.
right, call some oil tycoon from Dubai and see if he wants to buy your super yacht. Yeah.
Yeah, that can afford the super yacht. Call the other NFL owners, and when they tell you no, you're stuck with the super yacht. That's basically how that works.
Right. That's the one where the yacht can get parked inside the yacht, right? Is that Nick's one?
The Con super yacht has a port for a smaller yacht. Yes, that's correct.
You could
right
a boat that if we cobble together every dollar that everybody that's ever listened to this show has ever made, we could maybe buy the yacht that could park in the Con super yacht. Yeah, maybe.
Right. They have a port in their super yacht for their poor friends who only have a regular yacht. They can pull up, park it, throw the fucking anchor out, whatever you do, and join them on the super yacht while their poor yacht is docked outside the super yacht. Correct.
Different life. Yeah.
That is several steps above and different. Like we can't even, I was going to say we don't even know the guy knows the guy, but we literally know the guy.
We do actually know the guy.
That's not even accurate.
Believe it or not.
We know the guy.
Somehow. We do know the guy.
With the guy.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah.
No invites. No invites on the yacht, though. No invites on the yacht.
Someone said, you don't think TK has listened to this show? I'm positive at some point he's put on this show.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So, yeah, if we cobble together everyone that's ever listened to the show, with the exception of Tony Khan.
Yeah, then he would be able to, in theory, afford his own super yacht.
Correct. Yes. I think if we remove the billionaire smark from that list, the rest of us, no. I don't think any other billionaires listen to the show.
Little known, he's actually in the chat every week. He's the Swink. He's known as the Swink.
That's
in
why
the
you're
chat.
always getting mad at him.
That's Tony Khan. Yes, he's right there.
Suit Williams.
Imagine if all this time it was actually Suit Williams. Anyway, we have. Is that enough of a buffer to get?
I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's talk about not necessarily contract season, but movement season, because a lot of people are moving and debuting and departing and all that sort of stuff. So I will start out with Chris Jericho. You talked about this on the Thursday Dynamite Review, available right now at flagshippatreon.com. $5 tier to unlock the weekly Dynamite reviews from you at flagshippatreon.com. Chris Jericho is back home, as he said on his promo. He is back in AEW. So you talked a little bit about that on the Thursday Dynamite Review.
Yeah, so the floor is yours. People heard what I had to say.
Yeah,
so
I think
go first.
I'm in this weird spot with Chris Jericho where obviously I don't hate him as much as some people do. A lot of people just have this like weird Jericho derangement, syndrome where they just cannot stand the guy and just get viscerally angry anytime he's on the screen. I'm not that with Jericho. I didn't mind his runs in AEW. I thought he was always pretty solid for the most part. The match quality took a little dip in the last year or so. I'll be honest, though, I didn't really miss him when he was gone, and I was kind of ready to be done with him and just kind of move on, and I don't know what we're going to do with him here. I don't know if we're setting up a retirement run, if he's a full-fledged, back to being a member of the roster. He certainly looks like he's in full-fledged roster member shape because he's in incredible shape. He looks good. He's got abs going on, and, he's in good shape. He's got a nice tan. He's got a nice, he looks well-rested, and I don't know. I just kind of was done with Chris Jericho, and I feel like I don't know how to exactly get him back on this roster. And I felt like it was sort of not necessarily a clean break, but I did sort of enjoy the fact that he had moved on. And because I think movement's good, and I think people shouldn't be in a company for 6-7 straight years. I think they should move on and leave and go away and try something new. So I'm in this weird place where I enjoy Jericho, but I also would be perfectly fine if he never participate in AEW ever again. So I don't know. I'm conflicted here by his return, but he, looks like he's back, and we don't know the details, anything beyond that other than he's back. And I don't know how close he was to going to WWE. I mean, obviously there was a lot of rumors that it was very, very close, and AEW froze his contract. And was that just, a ploy to, put people off the scent, and they were just waiting for them to come back to Winnipeg? I don't know. It's just, I feel like AEW was fine without him, and I enjoyed the TV show without him, and I don't know that I necessarily need him back either. So, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But I have to see what he does before I can kind of really make a call.
Yeah, it seems like Jericho was obviously playing both sides here. I know at one point, didn't AEW freeze his contract?
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah. So I don't know if that was, and people are, asserting, was that a real thing or was that just a ploy to kind of, make it seem like he was about to leave and then they were just, had everything ready to go and were just waiting for him to come back to Winnipeg. Who knows?
You can't discount any possibility. We'll probably learn more when some of the reporters dig in and start asking some questions. Actually, Meltzer was saying that his WWE sources conceded earlier this week that they didn't think that they were actually going to land Jericho and that he may never come back to the company. So at some point there was at least interest from WWE. Why wouldn't there be? It's possible that Jericho heard their pitch, and if it was, we want to do a retirement deal with you and we want Gunther to beat you in your final match and all that, and maybe Jericho just didn't like that idea. Maybe he wants to go out on his own terms, and he knows that with Tony Khan, he can make that happen. Tony's going to be more amenable to listening to his ideas, and Tony will probably do whatever he wants within reason for a potential retirement. Whereas with WWE, that's not going to be the case. You'll have some level of input. He's had a rocky relationship with Paul Levesque, to say the least, over the years. So there's that factor. Not that those things can't be put aside for business, as we saw with Punk. But, maybe he just saw a better opportunity to go out on his own terms with his own creative with this company, AEW, as opposed to WWE. And, maybe he has somebody in mind who he wants to have his final match against, whether it's winning or putting somebody over. He is, and
this
55.
assumes that he's like looking at the end, and that might not be the case either. He might be saying, why, retire? I'm not ready to retire. Like WWE pitching him,
but
he's getting up there in age for sure. He should start thinking about it.
He's going to be 56 in a few months. So even if it's not in his direct line of sight, he has to be thinking about it. He has to be at least thinking about it. Or, maybe he thinks he can go into his 60s, but the thing with him is once he gets out of shape, his performance it's untenable.
Yeah.
It becomes very bad.
That's what we saw last year. It got very bad there for a while.
He's in shape. I mean, he got in shape for this. I mean, he looked phenomenal on Dynamite. He was in phenomenal shape. He had abs. His face looked 10 years younger. He lost all that fat that he put on at the end of his last run. So he's taking this seriously from a physical standpoint. But, he lands back in AEW, and I think, at best it was 50-50 where he was ultimately going to end up, and he chooses Wembley over WrestleMania, at least for this year. So I think I'm largely, as I said earlier today, I'm largely indifferent. I have nothing against Chris Jericho like a lot of people do, similar to what you said. But I would have been perfectly okay with him never coming back to AEW. I would have been perfectly okay with him never going back to WWE. I'd be perfectly okay if I never saw him wrestle again. I'm just completely indifferent on it. He's back. I shrug my shoulders and I say, all right, I'm going to analyze this for what it is now when he does come back. There's obviously still a level of star power there. He'll probably sell some tickets for Wembley. How many? I don't know. A statistically significant amount? I don't know. But it's not going to be zero. He's Chris Jericho. People recognize that name. If you don't think they're going to slap him on that poster, you're nuts. I mean, you're just not paying attention. If you think they're going to,
or you're in a bubble, and there's a lot of bubble people that, because like I said, online, it's like, oh my God, but it's never reflected anywhere else besides, very tight circles and siloed Twitter and Blue Sky
listen,
accounts and stuff.
If you don't think they're bumping Mike Bailey from that poster for Chris Jericho, then you're not being honest with yourself. I mean, Kevin Knights, he could take a hike. They're going to put Chris Jericho on the poster. I'm sorry. And they're going to try to sell tickets on his name, and he probably will sell a few. So we'll see what his program is out of the gate. We know that one Sammy Guevara must be rubbing his hands together about now because it's probably his ticket back to AEW from the ROH. But I don't know. We'll see. As long as we know he could talk. We know he has an incredible amount of charisma still to this. The problem is, as he gets further out of shape, the worse his performances get. If he's in shape and he can still go at a reasonable level, I think he can be an asset. There's also the possibility that the crowds turn on him. The crowd last night didn't turn on him. He was in fucking Winnipeg, though. Is there a possibility that some crowds start to turn on him again, like they did briefly there when all the the hell is that kid's name? Nick
Wayne.
No, not Nick Wayne. The reporter, the kid who
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
When all the what the hell is that kid's name? Kid, he's probably like 40. The hell is that kid's name? That reporter. When all that stuff cropped up again with the Kylie Ray allegations, and the crowds turned on Jericho.
Are you talking about Hausman?
Nick Hausman, yeah.
Nick called him kid. When you were saying kid, I wasn't thinking. No, Nick Hausman's not a kid. He's
probably like 40 years old.
I think he's older than I am. Yes, he's
shouldn't call him kid.
Well
I
beyond
apologize.
kid. Yes.
Kid.
I was like, who are you talking about?
He behaves like one. I don't know. Will crowds turn on him again? I guess that's possible. But I don't know. They sure like singing along to that song. He came out to Judas. He didn't come out to.
I would have liked to seen him. One of the things that Jericho was so good at for so long was reinvention, and he still does. He will reinvent like the actual gimmick that he's in and what he's doing, and he'll do the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Inner Circle and the whatever. But I would like for him to kind of move on from that song, maybe, because I don't know. It's a little overwrought. I would like maybe after this Winnipeg thing for him to move on and try something different than because I just think coming back and trying to milk it comes across very very Copeland, you know what I mean, where it's just like, golly gee willikers, you guys are singing my song. I can't believe it. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's over. He's not going to get away from it. I mean, he reinvents himself all the time, but maybe, and he's gotten away from that song at times, but I think he knew for his return that was a guaranteed way to be over when he came out, because people
right.
They just that response. Who's the dog? The fucking scientist dog.
Pavlov. The Pavlovian response.
The Pavlov fucking response of the so he was gonna come out to it. Is he gonna stick to it again long term? I don't know, but he's back, and they're he's gonna make a couple more. He's gonna keep cashing them checks as long as his body allows him to, because somebody's gonna keep paying him because he's Chris Jericho.
Yep.
So.
Dani Luna. Dani Luna requested her release from TNA, was granted, and she is now a free agent. I don't think it takes. I mean, I am pretty certain she's probably AEW bound. Feels like the Brawling Birds could use a third, and that would be a good spot for her if that's where it's going to be. But yeah, she's somebody who initially when I saw her, I didn't quite get it, and it took a little while. But she has become one of my favorite wrestlers. Outside of the big companies, in TNA, one of my favorite wrestlers in TNA. Good stuff in Deadlock and various indies and various British indies as well. A former NXT UKer, so I don't know if she's necessarily really looking to go back to WWE, but it just feels like if she's going to go anywhere, the Brawling Birds, needing a third, needing a trio, seems to work out pretty well for her.
Do they need a third, though?
They don't, but that feels like they're probably going to get one, whether they want one or not. And Tony is already licking his chops about getting a trios championship for the women, I'm sure. Triangle of Madness versus the Brawling Birds. How do you like it?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't like the triangle. I don't like two of the three triangles.
Yeah, it's a bad issue. Big issue with the Triangle of Madness.
Look, if she asks for her release, then she obviously has something lined up. The question is, what does she have lined up? And she would seem to fit the archetype of what AEW looks for in a wrestler more so than what WWE looks for in a wrestler. She was one of the lone bright spots in, we're going to talk about it later, what is a pretty bad pro wrestling company in TNA. All shtick aside, it's not good. TNA is not a good promotion, right? It's just bad. And I'll save that for later. But she was one of the lone bright spots there, and didn't make it very deep into the AMC era. Now, the question I have is, I remember on the eve or right around the time where they were going to get on AMC, they signed a lot of very short-term deals with a lot of their push television performers, 3-month deals, 6-month deals, very short deals. A lot of those have to be coming up. We're in April now. And the AMC show debuted in January. And they signed a lot of people to those super short deals, in some cases 3-month deals, to presumably get them through what we figured was some kind of trial period on AMC. We still don't know what kind of numbers AMC was looking for. We still don't know details of what the deal actually did entail. Is it a timeshare or is it a ad share? Is it are they paying them some nominal amount of money? Is it how long? Is it a multi-year deal? Was it a 3 or 6 month deal with conditions on performance in terms of triggering a longer deal? We don't know anything. But what I do know is there were a lot of I know that Nick Nemeth signed one. He signed either a 3 or 6 month deal at the start of this thing. And a lot of those deals have to be coming up shortly. So I think we're going to be getting more news when it comes to TNA talent with either their contracts coming up and them leaving the company or with them extending for. And I think that those extensions might give us a little hint as to what this AMC deal looks like.
Yeah.
Because if Nick Nemeth re-signs for 3 months and then his 3 months are up and he re-signs for 2 years, that might be a hint that they have a pretty stable deal with AMC, that they're re-signing one of their more expensive talents on a multi-year deal. Were you able to find anything on those short-term?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I don't know if Luna was one of those.
I wasn't suggesting she was.
Oh, you're trying to look at who was all. Yeah, that I'm trying.
I was just using that. I was using her to bounce into that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact list of folks that that had it. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. If Mike Gilbert was in the chat, he'd be able to.
Well, Nemeth is 100% one of them.
Yes. I remember they made the big to do about him.
One. Yeah. So and there were a couple of others and. But anyway, so that's Dani Luna.
Macklin was one that I found.
Okay. What was his deal?
Let's see here. Wrestler contract tracker. I'm trying to. It's all muddied and Google doesn't work anymore, so that doesn't help at all. All right. So AJ Francis, he was January 2025 is when he said. Mm-hmm. He had his. Let me see. Okay, Daria Ray was announced in January of 2026 as signing a 6-month contract.
Okay, there's one.
Elena Black was said in January 2026 to have signed a 1-year contract.
She's a full year. Okay.
Yeah. Jody Threat was January of 2026, but not detailed on when that would expire.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm not finding a whole good list here. I'm trying to do my best, but yeah, I do remember several others, like you're saying. There were a couple that were I mean the Iconics are one, obviously they departed before. Yeah, I'm seeing the rest of these are John Schuyler is another one that looks like January 2026 for him. So again, this is kind of hard to find on the and we're just doing it right here, but let's see this one as it loads.
So Nemeth, I'm getting a bunch of results saying the terms aren't disclosed, that he was on a handshake for 2 years. So they got him to put his name on paper for the TV, which is smart because you don't want to push a guy on TV who doesn't have a contract, because then one of your competitors can screw you and come in and sign the guy in the middle of a program or before a pay-per-view match or something.
Yeah.
So they got him out of the handshake deal and they got his name on paper. I just can't find the terms. So maybe I was wrong about him signing one of the short ones, but he definitely just re-signed an extension in January. See, there's a whole batch of them that they wanted to get their names to paper so that they couldn't get plucked off of TV in the middle of programs or before pay-per-view matches.
Right. Yeah, so there's several others that we're forgetting right now off the top of our head, but keep an eye. I mean, that'll be, most of those will come. I think the June is the time to kind of look at, because that would be the 6 month, and that would be the date then to try to really get an eye on who's leaving, who's staying, who's hanging around, and again, like more terms of this deal and how successful this is going. And ratings wise, I kind of don't really care about the ratings anymore. I've kind of decided to kind of hand wave it, but TNA's rating, they're back to doing the same. Weekly,
same exact number
every single number every single week. That 235 to 250,000 people every single week.
No matter what you feel about Nielsen's current methodology, and I don't trust it at all, which is why I don't really talk or report on the ratings much. What we do know is that TNAs are identical and exactly the same every single week.
So update the GIF, update the Lance Hoyt GIF of the core with the demo number, just changing
the 0.04 instead of the 1.2 or whatever.
Yep.
So and about 230 to 240,000 viewers, and is 0.04 every single week without fail. The one thing TNA has always had throughout their entire history no matter how large the group was, it was an intensely loyal group of fans. And it was just that group, whether it was the 1.2 million, whether it's the 240,000 now, whether it was, the 100,000 watching on that, they're intensely loyal. They watch every week and they're fiercely loyal to that brand. They've always had that.
Mm-hmm. They just couldn't get them to buy any fucking pay-per-views, which would have really helped their business if they could have bought some goddamn pay-per-views along the way. But they watch the free TV and enjoy it.
A lot more TNA later for you guys. I can't wait to really dig into Sacrifice.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know Rich is excited, too.
It's a bad company, man. It's just a bad wrestling company.
It's a bad pro wrestling
When I finished that show, I just went, this company stinks. It's a bad wrestling company, but we'll get to them in a little bit.
We got to save it for later. But
No, we
I
do.
just don't know. I don't know how anyone genuinely enjoys watching TNA. I don't.
Yeah, after that, the Mara Sade and Rosemary angle, I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. I had to push through, but I did. Yeah. With Mara Sade and her big "Taste This" shirt over her bosom, I was like, what is going on in this company?
Bosom,
right?
How about her fanny while you're at it? Take a look at her fanny.
Yeah.
Okay, bosoms and fannies.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be polite here. Dragon Dia departing Dragongate. Now, if you want more details about this, you are not going to find a better place than the Open the Voice Gate podcast on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network. Case and Mike went deep into it this week, talking about the departure of Dragon Dia. But this is a big one. This is a very big one.
I thought you were going to say there's no better place than the reporting I did 2 weeks ago multiple times.
True. Yeah, you're right.
On the track in conjuncture with Case Low.
That's true. Yeah. Well, so you got the backing of Case in that one, and then it worked out pretty well. But no, Dragon Dia departing Dragongate officially. He had a release and he had a note that he was leaving, and then they had a note, and it is not very. It's a little sloppy and a little drama-filled.
Not amicable.
No, it is not. We wish Dragon Dia the best in his endeavors, and yada. I mean, it's a little rough. They're apologizing for missing shows. They're apologizing that he's leaving. They're apologizing to fans. They're essentially saying this guy's the reason, this isn't going to happen and that's not going to happen. It does not seem to be going very well. And obviously, anytime you depart a company in Japan, it gets a little messy. And it seems that Dragon Dia had to hire somebody like an intermediary or a party to act on his behalf. So not necessarily an agent, but like a person that you hired to quit a company, or it's very messy. But what can you add to the Dragon Dia departure? But it's not good. It's not good for Dragongate, and it's not good for what's going on with that company there. Certainly raises some eyebrows.
So a couple of weeks ago, I did a couple of different paywall reports on some different maneuverings going on in Japan, because New Japan is actively seeking new talent, specifically for the junior division, but also they're looking at some heavyweights as well. And I had heard from someone on the New Japan side about Dragon Dia, and I went to Case, and Case said, that's funny because Mike and I have some stuff on Dragon Dia, and we put our heads together, and I put that story together behind the paywall. I wrote about it 2 or 3 times, and a bunch of other talents that New Japan is allegedly scouting as well. But what I was told from the New Japan side, because you'll get plenty of from the Dragongate side from those guys, someone that works with New Japan told me directly that New Japan has seen Dragon Dia as poachable, was the term that they used. Poachable for some time now, was what I was told. And they wouldn't be surprised at all if he's working for them. And Joel from Super J-Cast just flat out behind his paywall said, yeah, it's done deal. Like, he's going to be working for New Japan. So New Japan, and the other thing that I got from that New Japan source was that the crew loves working with him. They think he's a great kid and he's easy to work with, and they love having matches with him. Super respectful in the locker room, a pro's pro. So I got nothing but glowing reviews from the New Japan side, in addition to what was a real eyebrow-raising quote. We've seen him as someone that's poachable for a long time. And then when push comes to shove, and what's happening with New Japan right now is they're losing all this talent to AEW and to WWE, with Hiromu expecting to land in NXT, and Evil in deep negotiations with WWE, and obviously all the guys that have left for AEW over the years. New Japan has to restock the pond. And the way that they're doing it, and I wrote about this, people can go read this, $5 tier. A week or two ago, I wrote these couple of pieces on this. The way that they're doing it now is their own dojo is great, but it can't churn out the talent fast enough. They need people who are ready right this second. So what happens? This is the ripple effect. And the ripple effect is if they're getting poached for talent, they have to poach the promotions beneath them for talent.
Right.
So this is what we're seeing potentially with Dragon Dia if he ends up with New Japan, as everybody expects that he's going to. And with some other talent that I wrote about that they're currently scouting and getting their claws into and potentially plucking away from promotions that are just smaller in the ecosystem and can't afford. It's the same situation. New Japan can't afford to match what the American companies are paying these wrestlers, and the other companies in Japan can't afford to pay what New Japan could pay these guys. So now they're reaching down and they're going to poach people. So it's kind of like it's a ripple effect that's going to affect everybody. And this was one situation where it was a kid that had worked a couple of tournament tours for them. They like his work, and he wanted out of Dragongate, and it was a good fit, and they're probably going to bring him in. And that's did he handle it great? He disappeared in the middle of a Dragongate tour. He disappeared on the front end of a double shot. And just
that's not great at all.
And just never showed up again. And that's what made Case and Mike dig into it. And then I find out from the New Japan side that hell yeah, we want this kid. And it's funny because they just announced Hyo for the Best Super Juniors. Why are they still sending people to New Japan? Are they nuts?
Yeah. All you're going to do. And there's 2 slots open for the Best of the Super Juniors, right? I don't think they've officially.
2 more slots open.
2 more slots open. So, yeah, one of those might be Dragon Dia. And, yeah, it might not work out very well if Dragon Dia is there as now a contracted New Japan talent. And all the guys are like, hey, it's pretty cool here, right? What do you think? And he could probably say, yeah, you know what? Not bad. Yeah.
If I'm Dragongate right now, I'm not sending anyone to New Japan. This is how you lost this other kid.
Right.
I don't know. What's the upside here? The upside for something like this is we want to give our young wrestler experience on a tour for another company and also exposure. Maybe they'll come back a bigger star. Maybe some New Japan fans will like his work and come to our show the next time we're in town. I get all of that. But in the current landscape, you're playing a very dangerous game. A very dangerous game with that. Because New Japan is on the hunt for talent. Okay? And, if you want the names, go read the pieces I wrote. But I would not be sending my guys to New Japan right now to work tours.
No, no, certainly not. And I guess the big thing with this is, and like I said, Open the Voice Gate, they had a really big discussion about, what this means for Dragongate and is this. And I think I want to see if this is a one dude that really just wanted to leave and decided, all right, this is a good time to leave. And, I like New Japan and they've brought me in. So it's a good fit. And New Japan's trying to get people. Is he one of a bunch of people that are trying to leave, or is he, the guy that left? You know what I mean? Like it could be a massive thing where a lot of guys are unhappy there and they want to depart, or it could have just been this one guy decided, I'm sick of this and I'm departing. And that's what I want to see. And I don't know if we're going to know that right away, but we might know that. We might look back at this and say he's the first of many, or he might be a lone exception. And it's like, okay, we don't necessarily have to get into, what's going on there in Dragongate. If Dragon Dia is leaving, it may have just been, this was the guy that just wanted to leave. And we'll see. But, he's a big blow because he, and Case might talk about this, like, for anybody that's watched Dragongate, they gave him the dragon lineage. Obviously, gave him the lineage of a dragon kid or whatever. They gave, when you're a dragon in Dragongate, it's a pretty big, deal. And the fact that he was, a very marketable star for them, one of the big guys with, with kids and women. Like he was one of the front and center in their marketing. And for him to just up and leave, that just tells you that, it's just it. I don't know. It could be a thing or it could not be a thing. I think we're going to find out soon enough with Dragon Gate.
When what you're referring to, Ultimo Dragon Kid, and he was the next in line.
Right,
he was,
right.
Dragon Dia. So yeah, it's so that's what's going on with him. He's expected to sign with New Japan and be a full-time regular with New Japan. And I would be stunned if that's not the ultimate outcome here.
Yeah. For sure. I expect him to be one of those 2 remaining Best of the Super Juniors guys, but we'll see.
Well, Joel flat out says it's a done deal. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
There you go. Lady Frost, departing AEW, immediately signs with MLW.
Somebody texted me about this today, that there's a really good theory behind this, with her immediately signing with MLW. she works a lot of CMLL. And what's the best way to make sure that relationship keeps going? You see where I'm going there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hook up with MLW because they have that relationship with CMLL. So if she values those CMLL bookings and Tony wasn't going to re-sign her, the next best place to be is MLW.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's a per date, either way, if you're in that ecosystem, then CMLL, you still have that connection to CMLL. Could that be her train of thought? If it is, she's pretty crafty. I think that's a pretty smart move if you want to keep getting booked in CMLL, or at least still be in their field division, right? To stay with one of their partners. So, plus, you don't want to be left without a wrestling contract. So there's that too. Again, even if it's just a per date thing or something, she's guaranteed herself some steady work. As far as Lady Frost goes, I have always had a pretty consistent take on her. She has an incredible look and an incredible presentation. And then to steal a phrase from another wrestling podcaster, and then the bell rings.
Right.
She's clunky. She's slow. She looks like she's moving in slow motion. She's very athletic, but not in a wrestling athletic way. She just feels like she has to put so much effort to do the athletic things that she does, and she never comes across like she's moving in a natural way or an organic way, or that she's in the middle of a fight. It comes off like she really has to think hard and think her way through every spot. So she has the look and the presentation. I just don't think she can go at a major league level. I've just never liked her work at all. But look, with that look and that presentation, and she puts a lot of effort and into her gimmick and the way that she presents, I don't think she's ever going to be completely without work if she wants it. She's also probably a little older than people think, which is going to be a negative when it comes to a company like WWE. Obviously, she's exiting the Tony Khan universe, so there was no interest in bringing her back there. She was used very sporadically on AEW TV and strictly as a preliminary enhancement wrestler. She was banished to ROH. I don't know if banished would be the right term, but used more on ROH. So obviously, I don't think there'd ever be WWE interest. Obviously, Tony Khan is through with her. So from there, it's your TNAs and your MLWs, or, if Billy Corgan has some interest. And I think the theory that person texted me today makes a lot of sense. Why not choose MLW if they'll have you and continue that relationship with CMLL and get booked in Mexico a few times a year? It makes sense from that standpoint. And maybe that was her line of thinking here.
And she's not, considering some of the other women that they use in CMLL, she fits more, she's more in that realm, like you said,
Sure.
in terms of not being a great worker, but having a really, really good look. You could see it. You could see her getting consistent work in CMLL. So if that's the play, then then go for it. But
look, she's 41 years old. And look, WWE just isn't going to be interested. And I'm not saying, right, like, they're probably wrong. I think talent's talent. If you're interested in someone, but they're so slow in bringing people through their system. If they started her in NXT, if they signed her to a developmental contract,
forget it.
Dave, she might not be on TV till she's 45.
And they have 100 women that are 20 years old that are
right, that
much more ready for
them
them and what they want on their television show. Come on.
And that's a shame, but that's the reality. And we have to talk about the reality here, okay? And really, Tony hasn't really been using her much on ROH now to look at it either. She hasn't worked ROH since last summer.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm not, obviously I'm not in tune with my weekly Ring of Honor right now. So,
and she did a job on Collision for Mina Shirakawa in January. That'll ultimately be her final AEW appearance. But again, last year, she worked a bunch of CMLL dates last spring.
Yes.
Including in Arena Mexico. So she may see CMLL as her ticket to stick in the major leagues, no pun intended, with MLW, while also, hey, look, if you have a deal with MLW, you've got that steady once a month work there where, where again, in theory, you're making tape and you're on TV. But as we discussed earlier, whatever the fuck. But if they can get her,
there's
booked for
cameras.
CMLL,
There's you're wrestling and there's cameras. That's as far as we can say.
Yeah, it's. But the last 2 springs, CMLL has brought her in. The spring of 2024, the spring of 2025, and she was also there. She got her first 2 tours in late 2022. So there could definitely be smoke to that fire in terms of that theory that's kind of the idea behind her immediately latching on with MLW.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like released, and then an hour later, she's on Fightful announcing that she signed with MLW. It was an interesting one, but there you go. Lady Frost departing AEW, signed with MLW. We'll see what happens with her. And then Willie Mack. No movement from Willie Mack, but he was making it very well known that he wants to get booked more in AEW Ring of Honor, and essentially revealed, I guess, that he has a deal with AEW or had a deal with AEW. No longer does.
There's movement. He's done. His contract, again, I guess April 1st was a big date for them, for some of these people. But the story with him, as I understand it, is he was offered a new deal, but he didn't like the terms. And he declined and is now a free agent. So I think that's what's going on with Willie Mack, as opposed to just being let go at the end of his deal. And he put out a tweet saying that he wasn't valued or whatever, because I think he wanted a raise. And I think they probably offered him either the same per date deal or the same low salary deal, and he declined it.
Yeah, so I think you might be. I'm reading from yesterday further details on Willie Mack's status, and I think someone said that no, he's still there. On Wednesday, Fightful Select posted further details on Mack's status, noting that he remains under AEW contract, but is no longer on the same deal he had for the past 2 years. When he first debuted in 2023, he was on what was a Tier 0 contract, essentially a pay-per-appearance deal. He then worked under a full-time salary deal for the past 2 years before recently being moved back to the T0 agreement, or Tier 0 agreement, which is essentially pay-per-appearance. So he's still there, but he's being paid per appearance.
All right, maybe because someone told me that he was offered a deal and wasn't going to take it, but maybe he ultimately took it.
Yeah, PW Insider said that he was offered a new AEW contract some time ago, but opted not to sign it.
Okay, that's the same thing that I was told by someone, that they offered him to extend him or re-sign him, whatever, however you want to phrase it, and he wasn't interested. And the idea being, then he puts out the tweet that says, when your boy is about to become a homeless superhero because the booker doesn't think he's worth the money, #WhereTheBestWrestle, which when combined with that information I was told and what obviously Mike Johnson was told as well, leads you to believe he didn't think it was enough money to live on and turned it down, because he's like, well, fuck this. I'm not signing that again because I'm not making any money. He then put out a tweet the next day that said, it's like for 2 years straight, I'd call every week and ask if you got anything for me. You signed, right? You're still getting paid, right? Yeah, but I want to wrestle. So it's the same old story. It's like today's wrestlers want to wrestle. Mm-hmm. They don't want to do the Lanny Poffo thing where they're just getting the check in the mail. They want to wrestle. And in his case, I guess it was per date. Oh, no, you said it wasn't per date, and now they've scaled him back to a per date.
It was, when he originally came in, apparently it was a per date. Then they signed him to a full-time deal, and now he's back on a per date deal. And that would be, maybe that's the contract that you're talking about. He said, no, I'm not signing a new full-time deal. Date. I'll do a per date deal with you if you want.
I read it as he had the full-time. They were offered him to put him back on a per date as opposed to the full-time. And that's when he tweeted out on the 31st that the booker doesn't think he's worth the money and decided not to sign it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then had a change of thought and like, well, I better just take it because what else am I going to do?
Yeah, because then somebody said, well, are you gone? And he said, nope, still there.
Yeah, so I think
maybe contract negotiations shouldn't be done on Twitter. I don't know. It seems a little messy, but anyway.
Definitely not. So I think what happened was his full-time deal was coming due, and they didn't offer him another one. They offered him the per date. He initially, like many people would, had too much pride and said, fuck that. Why, you're going to scale me back to a per date? And said no. And then had the change of heart because he probably thought, well, it's better than nothing. And then took it. And now is back under contract. But on a per date as opposed to a full-time.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's very obvious this is someone that Tony isn't interested in doing anything with. He's never on AEW TV. He's another guy that's basically been full-time ROH. When's the last time he worked? Let me see the last time he worked.
Oh, God, I can't even remember.
A proper AEW date. It was 2025. He worked last March. He did a job for Wheeler, Utah. He essentially has the exact same usage that we discussed with Lady Frost, where he's a television enhancement talent on AEW who then works sporadically for ROH. So I could see why Tony would say, we don't need to have this guy on a full-time deal. We could have this guy on a per date, since really we're only using.
All right, I think we lost Joe there. I'll try to get him back on the line here in a second. I'll find it. Oh, there you are. You're back. All right. Joe is back. All right. We lost you for a minute. Oh, come on.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know. Did you have a great point that you just made?
Well, yeah, I said a lot of, again, I'm talking because I think you're clearing the floor. What's going on here?
No, you dropped. I don't know.
Well, where did it cut off?
You said he has essentially the same role as Lady Frost, and then I think you cut off right after that.
Yeah, he has the same role as Lady Frost, where he's used as a television enhancement talent who's used sporadically on ROH otherwise. And I could see why Tony wouldn't want somebody like that on a full-time deal anymore. I could see why Tony would rather have that person on a per date. And I could see why Willie Mack would say, well, that's less money for me. I don't want to take that. But then when his other option is, when the only other thing that he's doing is like Juggalo Championship Wrestling, he's probably then rethinks it and says to himself, well, this is dumb. I may as well just take that because I'm just burning money out of my own pocket if I don't at least take the per date. So here we are. And he'll probably have the exact same usage as he did before, but just on a per date deal now. I don't anticipate him being used or pushed hard or anything.
No, and I don't know if a tweet about the Booker doesn't like me, where the best wrestle is really going to endear yourself all that well either. So I don't know. And I'm of two minds. Like, would I love to be a professional wrestler and get paid? You know, like you said, today's professional wrestlers want to work. They don't want the Lanny Poffo thing of, cool, I get a check every single week and I don't have to do anything. Like that, it's not what any of these guys want to do anymore. Would I, as a professional wrestler, like to not work and get paid? That, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But that's just not how they are anymore. And that's where I think it would be. I do wonder if AEW should be a little bit more. I know they don't want to ever do this, and they very rarely ever do it. There's like 3 names ever that they've actually released, but I do think they need to be a little bit more diligent about that. And just because I don't think it helps to have a bunch of people on the sidelines bitching and moaning about their usage and talking about the island and talking about, because that you get that a lot, because people don't really respect Tony the same way they would respect Paul Levesque or Vince McMahon, and very rarely, talk about it while they're employed by the company, and then maybe do it once they get released or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, all I want to do is work. But they'll say that after they get released. Tony's guys will just say it while they're employed by Tony Khan, which is always a little interesting. I do wonder if the company, and I hate to say this because one of the best benefits that AEW has had is like, hey, we don't really release people for the most part, and if you're contracted talent, we're going to see you through the entire contract. But I do wonder if it's maybe just, it would behoove them to be a little bit more diligent about, okay, this person's contract is up. Are we really ever going to use Willie Mack enough to continue to? No. Okay. Do we even want to give him on a per date deal? Honestly, no. Like, who cares? Like, we'll find somebody else. So that's almost where I would.
Well, that's what you do with Lady Frost.
Right. And I would do that more often. I think is just say, okay, your contract is due, and I don't really have any good ideas for you. So you know what? Thank you for your time, and hopefully we can do business again down the line if it works out for everybody. But we're good, and just move on, because I think that endears yourself, it seems, a little bit more to today's workers than keep you under contract but don't use you. Seems to anger people even more these days. So it's a different industry for sure.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't have made that tweet right at the end of the month when other people's deals came up if something wasn't going on.
Right.
So he can say whatever he wants now, but and look, someone in the chat saying they don't consider someone to be signed if they're on a per date. I'm going to tell you why that's wrong, and what the difference is between a per date contract and just using people as for random day bookings or whatever. When you're on a per date deal, okay, you're not making a salary. You're getting paid per date, but here's the thing. if your name's on that contract for a per date, when they call you, you have to show up. You're not, in that instance, just an independent worker who they're calling up to ask, hey, can you work this date and come in and work the ROH taping? Who they do that with some people. Or, hey, can you come in and work this date? I know you live in Winnipeg. We're in Winnipeg. Can you come in and do a television job because you live in Vancouver or whatever? That's different than being on a per date deal, because on a per date deal, you're signed to the company. They're not paying you a salary. They're just paying you when they use you, a negotiated amount. They're paying you when they use you. But when they call you, you have to come to work.
Right.
Because you're under contract to them. So that's the difference. You are a signed wrestler. That's how MLW does a lot of their deals too, or has historically done a lot of their deals. They're under contract per date. They agree to terms of what they're going to be paid for those dates. But when MLW runs and they want to use you, you're under contract. You have to drop whatever you're doing and you got to work that date because you're under that per date contract. That's different than when MLW just uses somebody local to fill in on the show and work in the Battle Riot or do a job on TV or something. That's someone who's not under contract, who's just doing essentially an indie date. So that's the difference.
Right. And that agreed upon amount that you're paid when you drop everything to come do that show or whatever, that's where the signing really comes in, is right. You will drop everything when we need you, and here's the rate that you're going to get, as opposed to calling Willie Mack and saying, hey, you free on the 19th, we have a show and we want to use you, and here's what we'll offer you or whatever, is way different than
and if you don't have him on a per date, he could tell you no.
Right.
So that's why you want to get them their name on you want to have them on these per date contracts, because then you have them whenever you want to use them. They're there, and they have to, they got to work or they're breaching their contract. So that's the difference, and that's why it's I guess you can say that it's a kind of an in between, but you're signed, right? I mean, they're signed. You have a contract, you just don't have a salaried contract. Right.
It's so there's pen to paper and there is contractual terms. It's just the way the terms are is different. Then you're getting a check every 2 weeks, and you're getting a check when we use you. So I don't know. We'll see. This might be the first of many coming. For AEW, as you said, it was the end of the month or possible. So we'll see. But Willie Mack's still there, according to his Twitter account. So we'll see.
Well, he would be the one who would know. So
right, yeah, for sure.
I think the Fightful report kind of nailed it, though. He eventually accepted the per date deal. Mm-hmm. That's what it said, right? I mean, eventually, so he's back in the fold.
Let's talk about this story real quick, and then we'll get to the much-anticipated TNA Sacrifice review. John Cena is guest hosting WrestleMania. They announced earlier this week they had him film something in wherever location he was in to tell people, I'm coming back, and I am guest hosting WrestleMania, and please, please, please buy some fucking tickets. Could you please buy some tickets? They're now 25% off. We did the 316 deal. Now we're doing 25% off. WWE World, the Access fill in, that's 10% off this week. So plenty of discounts to be had for WrestleMania. And I would say if you're in Las Vegas, walk around casinos that weekend. You might find yourself a ticket to WrestleMania, because I think those tickets are going to continue to get lower and lower and lower, and might even go to free at some point very soon, as they desperately try to get as many people in the building. Because I don't know if you've checked out the numbers lately. The movement it's still very stagnant for that WrestleMania number. It's not looking good for either Saturday or Sunday. I mean, it's looking fine. I mean, I shouldn't. I mean, they are still getting. Let me find out the latest update. I think it was it 4 days ago, 5 days ago? Let me find the most recent update from WrestleTix. I mean, they're still doing quite well. So Saturday is 38,381. Last year was 60,151. So again, 38 to 60,000 basically year over year. And then the Sunday show has finally eclipsed 40,000. So 40,003. Last year's WrestleMania Sunday was 61,389. So there are still several tickets available for you if you want to go to either night of WrestleMania. But clearly John Cena being announced as a guest host in an effort to try to sell a few more tickets.
Yeah, it's been in the works for a while. It was a matter of when they were going to strategically unleash it to, like you said, get some last-minute ticket sales, and they've chosen 2 weeks out to do so. So do I think that he would be doing this soon after his retirement if they had sold the allotment of tickets by Royal Rumble weekend? No. because I think that the first return of John Cena of any kind has some cachet to it and could be used to draw, just as they're using it now. So why would you burn it off so quickly if you didn't have to? So yes, correct. It's because the ticket sales were sluggish and they're not going to sell the full allotment, even if they manage to get every seat filled, that they're unleashing the John Cena tool sooner than they probably would like to. That's
right.
really
The break in case of emergency has been broken already 2 weeks out for WrestleMania. And again, if they had 50,000 out, like you said, Rumble weekend, the break in case of emergency, we're not seeing John Cena on WrestleMania.
He wouldn't be hosting WrestleMania this year.
No.
They wouldn't waste it that quickly. They would save it. He's not in their Hall of Fame. So, and they're not putting him in this year, right? They're putting in Stephanie,
no.
AJ
Stephanie,
Styles,
AJ, yeah.
Demolition, and whoever else, the undercard, the prelim people.
Bad News Brown is going in.
Yeah.
Sid's going in. Missing somebody else. Immortal Moment. The Immortal Moment this year is Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant.
So here's the thing. There's your tip-off that they wouldn't have done, because they would just put him in the Hall of Fame too. Like if the plan all along from the retirement tour, if the plan was we're going to use 2025 as your retirement tour, Gunther's going to retire you in December, and then we're going to have you host the WrestleMania the next year, they'd put him in the Hall of Fame too. That's kind of your other clue that this came together, later in the game.
Right. Or it would have been marketed, pretty much day one. Like it would have been, he gets retired by Gunther and it's like, all right, he could come out on, the next night on Raw and say, oh, I'm done and that's my last thing or whatever. And then, Stephanie comes out, or it's Taker that delivers the news. So Undertaker comes out and says, I know you're done as an in-ring wrestler, but you're going into the WWE Hall of Fame or whatever.
Right.
And they would do that. And guess what? Hall of Fame tickets not moving very well either. So they would certainly, if they want to get some more publicity going for that weekend, they would have advertised a long time ago that Cena was going to get involved. And the fact that 2 weeks out they haven't filmed some cell phone videos saying, hey everybody, I'll be at WrestleMania. I mean, we know what this is.
No production.
Right. He's on some vacation and they're saying, John, it's time, and he's like, really? All right, I'll
tell you how this played out. They approached him probably a couple months ago when tickets were sluggish and said, well, do you want to do this? Of course he's going to agree, and then they strategically unleashed the information. They waited as long as they could because, again, they don't want to do this.
No.
They want to save John Cena for something, but they waited as long as they could. And 2 weeks out was probably as long as they could have waited, and now they've unleashed it, and now they're hoping that this will sell, 10, 20,000 more tickets. Probably won't. And here we are.
I don't know why they didn't just try, booking the show or not having you have to take a mortgage out to go to the show. I would have tried both of those strategies a lot earlier in the game, but they didn't, and here we are.
I think because people have been taking out mortgages and going to jail for fraud. Did you see that story with that lady?
Oh, yeah, I like that. You know what? That's a nice. That lady is an interesting.
Afford wrestling tickets. I think that because they've been able to get away with that for essentially 2 years plus at this point, they were going to keep doing it until they got burned, so to speak. And they didn't get burned here. They're going to have two monster gates. They're going to have two of the biggest gates in the history of wrestling. Okay, we have to have some perspective here. But the bar has been raised to the point where they sell these things out and they break the all-time gate records every time. And this time they're not going to sell it out. So I don't know if they're going to rethink their strategy. What they're going to do is they're going to go to Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque and they're going to say, get your shit together and start selling these shows out again. Is this going to be sort of the inflection point where we see more pressure put on Levesque to start delivering these crowds? And I don't know if he's capable of turning this thing around. Because first of all, there aren't many pro wrestlers historically who are capable of turning that cruise ship around when it starts going in that other direction. It's like booking. It doesn't work that way historically in pro wrestling. You have your ebbs and your flows, right? And you hope to mitigate what's the negative one, the ebb or the flow? I guess it doesn't matter. You want to mitigate the flow before you get back to it. But it's like, that's how wrestling works. The interest levels.
Yeah.
It's
always cyclical. It's always, and everybody everybody globalizes it. Like whenever a company is up and a company is down, it's like, oh, it'll always be this way. And it's like, never. No, calm down. It's going to take a couple years, but it'll ebb and flow. And we've seen AEW ebb and flow, and now we've seen WWE ebb and flow. And it's just a natural progression of how this goes. Nobody is ever on top forever. Nobody is ever riding high forever. There's extended runs for time, but it's never one company doing well forever. It ebbs and flows. It always does. Always has.
I think there's just a lot of wrestling fans who get super into wrestling for a while. And then when those storylines or those personalities that were attracting them to it kind of wear out or they get tired of them, they go away. And that's just how it's always worked, you know? And what you're left with is your core group of fans who never leave. And you hope that's big enough to sustain the ebb when you get back to before you get back to something catching on and getting hot and leading to another flow. Mm-hmm. So that's, you know, so I don't know. I don't know if TKO is going to understand that. I don't know if, and that's what I mean. It's like, it's very easy to say, well, Levesque has done a poor job. And it's kind of like when you inspect it closely, you can see all the flaws in his booking all along. You know, stories that were set up by Vince, lots of repetitiveness in the stories, which worked when they were hot, but once they cooled off, okay, nobody wanted to see Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu do all the same shit that Roman and Jey Uso did for 2 years. People were over it, and Solo Sikoa didn't have the same charisma.
Right,
as
they're not
Reigns.
as good at performers either.
Right, and all those millions of reasons, and you know, doing the same storylines over and over with Judgment Day. Judgment Day didn't have the star power and the charisma of the Bloodline people. And we know that Levesque only had 3 or 4 stories that he knew how to tell. And when they cooled off, he tried to do them again. It didn't work. So, you know, they've begun to cool off to some degree. They're still obviously making money hand over fist. But it's not necessarily just because I don't think he's a particularly strong booker that I don't think I don't think even I don't know that the world's greatest bookers could no one could instantly turn it around. You have to just, you know, tread water, wait it out, and find the next hot thing. It's not always right around the corner. You should do a better job of setting yourself up for the next hot thing. And that's really where he kind of blew it.
That's it. Yeah, when things were rocking and rolling, nobody was really being elevated. I just the other day I had on YouTube, WWE has their YouTube channel, and they're just doing live streams. And one of the live streams is like WrestleMania main events or whatever. So I was working, and I just wanted something as background noise or whatever. So I clicked it and watched it. And the Roman Cody match where Cody beat Roman and won the title, I was playing, and I forgot how ridiculous that match was and how absolutely absurd that match was, and how the end result of that match was The Rock and The Undertaker. And it's just like, what is happening? Why is The Undertaker in the ring? Why is The Rock in the ring? Like that, like they told the story of Cody finally beating Roman, but the big stars of that match were The Rock and The Undertaker. And it's like, what? What do you do? Like that? It was just a weird, they never got anybody else ready after Cody. It was like Cody got the win, and then they didn't even have challengers ready for him. They had nothing ready to go afterwards.
No challengers. And as we pointed out, they did pick someone for Roman, but it was Solo Sikoa, and the guy was a giant fucking dud.
It was a fucking zilch out of Solo Sikoa.
He's just a zilch. He's a nothing. You know, and they didn't, I guess, you know, then Jacob Fatu, who is not a zilch, but got hurt, and then these glacial like pushes that he gives people. So now you have Obafemi, and you hope that he's the guy that catches fire. So we see how they handle that with Brock. And I'm sure in 2 weeks when we preview the WrestleMania show, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, so it's not going to turn around quickly because, you know, eventually the Bloodline got to the 9th inning and then got into extra innings. And then it was just petered out. Died on the vine, and then he had nothing to follow it up. So, and here we are. So you wonder when they're going to be down tens of thousands of tickets year over year, despite the fact that they're going to do these monster gates. I'm curious to see how TKO responds to that.
Right. Are they going to like massively drop tickets? I don't know. I tend to think that they will probably just say, well, fuck it. Who cares? Let's still get as much money out of our core audience that we possibly can. And we're not going to drop. We're not doing $20 tickets or whatever. We're not going to, who cares if we're down to 11,000 people in a building or whatever. We'll just keep selling as many tickets as possible and just keep on.
I think so.
Bringing in these massive gates. I tend to think that's probably where they're going to go. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of all come to a head here in WrestleMania, and it's shown. Being 30,000 down, year over year. Right now is just kind of shown that a lot of different things all kind of came to a head at once. Your high ticket prices, your poor, glacially slow booking, not getting the next generation over, not getting the next people over, and then also the way that you've just kind of nickel and dimed all the fans. We talked about how what's going to happen now that everything was easy to watch on Peacock and everything was able to watch on here. Now it's like, okay, you need Netflix, you need ESPN, you need this. It's for a lot of fans, and I know I have casual friends that I know that I've just kind of said, I'm not getting ESPN to watch this shit. Like, I already spend this much money on this and this much money on that, and I need Netflix, and I need ESPN, and I need USA, and I need this, and I need that. Like, it just ended up being, so much of a burden to be a fan, and WWE kind of selfishly and confidently thought, well, our fans are going to chase us no matter what, and they haven't. That's clearly been reflected so far. The NFL is pretty much the only league, sport league or entertainment league, whatever, that people will move heaven and earth to make sure they watch the NFL. They don't do hell. We just saw it this week with the MLB on Netflix. Like that number, Netflix isn't touting that number. It didn't show up on any of the ratings. It's kind of this weird nebulous thing of, well, how many people actually watched opening day on Netflix? It didn't seem to be a lot of people because baseball fans, and we know this, and we've talked about this a lot. Baseball is a way more regional than a lot of people think, and so you don't have a whole lot of national fans that are like, oh man, I got to make sure I'm locked in on Netflix to watch the San Francisco Giants and the New York Yankees. That's just not really how most baseball fans are. Whereas NFL fans, it would not matter. Whatever team, insert whatever two teams. If it's the opening week of the NFL, people are going to move heaven and earth to make sure they watch it and be there.
Yeah. So, the one thing about Levesque is, and I see people in our chat talking about this. You look at the way he booked NXT and you look at the way he books the main roster, and he has publicly said that he cannot book the main roster for a wider audience the same way that he booked NXT. He has said that. But when you look at the way he booked NXT,
I was going to say,
he really built it around debuts and big surprises, right? Like once a month you'd get, oh, there's Prince Devitt, there's Samoa Joe, there's Kenta. There'll always be a big debut or a surprise. It would be some major international star or indie, or indie wrestler who never had a chance to be in the WWE. And he would build it around elaborate entrances. He would build it around never-ending feuds that seemingly went on way past their expiration dates. He would have very limited pay-per-views, major shows, takeovers. There would only be 4 matches a lot of the time, right? And the week-to-week TV, and those shows would be great, but the week-to-week TV would be very boring. And all of that sounds very familiar to the way he books the main roster.
It definitely does. Yep.
It's totally supported by debuts and surprises and shocking the audience.
And shocking moments, too. There'd be big turns. You'd get Tommaso Ciampa turning on Gargano, that sort of stuff.
And it's the same thing on the main roster. Like if you watch that stupid Unreal show or whatever it's called, what are they constantly talking about? Surprising the audience, shock moments, shock, surprises, elaborate entrances. This man is addicted to elaborate entrances. He will get out there hands-on and show you got to put your hand here.
It's always the same thing. That's
a dry
every
ice,
time I watch those videos, they're always the same. He goes, and then you come here and you go dun 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 dun, then you put the hands up, and that's when they explode. Boom 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 boom.
The dry ice, and we want to make it. You
have to tell Penta to put his hands up when the fireworks come up? Like, really? Thanks, Paul.
We want to make sure it feels real big. We want to make sure it's big, big. And then the never-ending feuds, which, again, his storylines never end on the main
Gargano
roster either.
Ciampa, I mean, good Lord. That was a good feud that went 2 years. I mean, everybody was like, I was there for the freaking, the Gargano Ciampa one went on too long, and then the Gargano Cole stuff went on endlessly. Then they went back to both of those things even after they were done. I mean, that was just, the one benefit that he had with NXT is guys would leave occasionally.
And then the 4-match takeovers, which we thought were just a product of it being developmental, but as we see, that's just his philosophy.
Yeah.
It's just his philosophy to have 4-match pay-per-views. And then the boring week-to-week TV, which the one thing people forget about NXT, even when the takeovers were always great, is the week-to-week NXT TV was dull as dirt. And his weekly TV, SmackDown has been horrible for a large part of his run. Raw has gone through periods where it's bad. Nobody likes WWE's week-to-week TV. It stinks. It's just as boring and dry. And as soon as he took over for Vince, what was the immediate shell shock of Levesque's TV was, okay, everything's more logical. There's a lot less silliness, but it's boring. These shows stink. They're dry as a bone. So really, he thinks and has said that he can't do the main roster the way he used to do NXT, but it's identical.
He's doing it. He's
all of his philosophies are exactly the same, and nothing has really changed. The only difference is in NXT, he was leaning on those great indie wrestlers that he was signing, the high-profile international workers, and as a result, the takeovers were of much higher quality than the main roster pay-per-views are now because he had better talent to work with. Those shows were loaded with some of the best wrestlers in the world. And today, he has to use Liv Morgan and fucking, Tiffany Stratton and whoever the fuck, Jey Uso, people who can't work. So the shows aren't as good because the workers aren't as good. He had the horsewomen in NXT. He had Sasha Banks and Bayley and Becky Lynch and these people in their primes.
And then Prince Devitt and Samoa Joe and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly later and all these great
it's
workers.
Not bad.
And,
it's not hard.
You go up and we're forgetting a million
Sami
of them.
Zayn, Kevin Owens,
Andrade, fucking FTR, fucking
FTR. Yep.
Yeah, it's so the shows were much better. But his booking philosophies and his templates for his big shows, he's doing everything the same. There's really nothing's different. So, you're getting this. It's just, he just doesn't have nothing as hot as it was for the last 2 years. And I don't think it'll be.
Well, and NXT followed the same template. It was really, really hot for a while. It was selling out buildings. It was, a big draw on Mania weekend. It was one of the biggest draws of a Mania weekend. You could sell out basketball arenas. They could tour. They could do all that other stuff. And then slowly but surely, it just kind of evaporated and went away. And it stopped becoming a draw. And then Vince and Bruce Pritchard just had to take it from him and say, no.
It's time to change it. Yeah. Well, what happened was AEW showed up and he stopped having his pick of the litter of indie and international wrestlers. If AEW never showed up, he probably could have kept that formula going for years.
Right.
Because, but Tony Khan was signing Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada and all of these, whoever, you can name a million of them, Nick Wayne, whoever you want to name. Mm-hmm. Those people would have ended up in NXT if there was no AEW. So, and he would, and they could have kept that going. But the well ran dry. AEW kicked his ass. The black and gold era of NXT got their asses kicked by Tony Khan. And then, Vince and his main roster underlings decided we got to change this shit. And we got the fucking paint splat era. And, whatever that's evolved into today, which is like the worst fucking thing that's ever been on TV.
Right, which we'll get to shortly.
Which is a great transition.
Let's do it. Yeah, Stand and Deliver. And speaking of not being able to draw anymore, this was supposed to be on WrestleMania weekend. Of course, Stand and Deliver is their usual, takeover, quote unquote, takeover show that used to be on WrestleMania weekend. It is tucked tail, and it is now in this weekend. From St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Tickets distributed right now, 1,656 per WrestleTix. So It's at the Factory in St. Louis. But yeah, this is a show that used to be able to sell out basketball arenas on WrestleMania weekend, and they have 1,656 people out for this show. So
well, as Blake Monroe said, people want stories and not wrestling. But it would appear to be that that's not
maybe
working
they
out
want
so
a little
well.
bit of wrestling too. Yeah, maybe they want a little bit of wrestling. Well, hey, speaking of the aforementioned Blake Monroe,
curtain jerks for the second straight pay-per-view.
Right.
When she was main eventing in AEW. Now, granted, in a very elaborate story, let's be fair.
Sure.
But with great matches. And the conclusion was a great match. Mm-hmm. So now she's dropping fake diamonds on the mat and having plunder matches where, you're using plastic weapons and nobody's
coming out of a hole. Did you see her come out of the hole? I don't know if you watched that. Did you ever watch the Booker T Appreciation Night NXT?
No.
Oh, okay.
What?
Well, sir, you usually catch up on NXT, I thought. Or maybe you don't catch up on NXT. You catch up on the other promotions. Well,
baseball season, sir.
when
I'm not catching
Tatum
up on
Paxley defeated fucking Izzy Dame in a cage match, as Tatum Paxley was walking to the back, Blake Monroe emerged from a hole in the entranceway and then dragged Tatum Paxley to hell or to underneath the staging at the arena. But we were told it was hell. So I don't know.
Well, the bottom line is I can't even imagine how bad Tatum Paxley, Blake Monroe is going to be because it's going to be all gimmicked up on top of it.
Yeah, it'd be just absolutely brutal. So there you go.
Now,
That's
it has no stipulation, but it's going to be spooky shit and Blake Monroe with her fake diamonds. And I can't even fathom how bad.
Tatum's got her doll. Yeah, Tatum's got the doll. Blake Monroe's got the fake diamonds. I'm sure this will be perfectly legal Cole at some point.
What the fuck happened? Can I just get the Horsemen versus the fucking Road Warriors or something? I mean, please.
Nope.
What is this shit?
Wrestling. It's wrestling now. This is what it needs to be, Joe. This is what it is. This is what the casual fans love. Casual fans love this.
They love it so much they can't sell out a 2,000 seater.
right. Nobody watches it, but this is what you need to do to make wrestling good. Is it has to be this. NXT, that is your North American title match, by the way. Your NXT tag team, your women's North American title. Your NXT tag team titles, the Vanity Project of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes versus the Los Americanos, because there cannot be a WWE show without the most over luchadors on planet Earth, the white guys under masks. So you got Bravo and Rayo Americano. So there was I watched. There was that one week where I watched 3 different WWE shows, and the Americanos were on every single one of them. They were on Raw, they were on NXT, and they were on AAA. And I was just like, God damn it! What can I do to escape the Americanos?
I got a question. Why isn't Sami Zayn doing El Generico right now?
Great question. I don't know.
That would work like a fucking charm.
He should probably pitch that. Yeah, he should probably pitch that.
Well, it's too late now because you have 4 of these guys running around.
No?
Literally 4 of them for people who don't pay attention. There's 4 Los Americanos gimmicks running around.
Yeah,
Gable,
two Grandes, a Bravo, and a Rayo Americano.
Yeah. Gable, Axel Dieter, and
Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Yes. Fucking Christ.
God. NXT North America title match. Jesus Christ. Johnny Gargano versus Miles Bourne. What's going to be great about this match is they're going to tell us that Johnny Gargano, this is his like 98th NXT match. They used to do that for takeovers. They'd be like, Johnny Gargano in his 44th takeover match. And I'm like, that's not good. That's not something to brag about.
39 of them against Tommaso Ciampa. Right.
Well, now he gets another one here against Miles Bourne for the NXT North American title. So get into it. Zarya and Sol Ruka, their feud,
there's a hot feud,
grudge
Rich.
match. It's all over
it's
here.
A hot feud.
Yep, Zarya and Sol Ruka finally get in the middle of that ring and settle their differences once and for all. NXT Women's title triple threat match: JC Jane, Lola Vice, and Kendall Gray. Kendall Gray is pretty good, so they should
Kendall Gray is great,
yeah.
But they had the #1 contender match, and of course there was no winner, so it's a 3-way.
Fuck this.
Fuck this.
Wrestling
it's
sucks.
Why is wrestling so bad? Why does all wrestling have to be so fucking bad?
Jesus Christ.
And I got to review this shit next week? My God.
#1 contender for the championship opportunity, and they couldn't figure out a winner.
No, they give us the 3-way anyway.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? At least with the NXT title, we got things figured out. Wait, never mind. It's a fatal 4-way match. Joe Hendry, Ethan Page, Ricky Saints, who is dying on the fucking vine, and Tony D'Angelo. Fuck this. Done.
Yeah, but Tony D'Angelo got the repackage.
Yeah. He looks like Rock Hard Juice Robinson now, yeah.
Yeah. The Windy City.
He's the face of NXT is what people are saying, and it's like
that's what this,
it's not something I would like to. I'm the face of the show that used to be on WrestleMania weekend, but now is at the Factory in St. Louis on April 4th and has 1,700 tickets out.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, this whole feud has been built around these guys wanting to be the face of NXT, and it's like, what the fuck? Did Bob Roop ever? I want to be the face of Southeastern. No, he wanted to win titles, make money, and fuck broads. He didn't want to be the face of fucking of Southeastern. What is that? What does that even mean? Who cares? Why as a fan would I ever be invested in that storyline over who's going to be the face of NXT? You got Ricky Saints in the back with Ethan Payne. Now, Ethan, you know I want to be the face of NXT. And I'm just like, why?
And he's like,
what
Ethan,
is this?
he said, Ethan, you used to be the face of NXT, and you know what it's like to be the face of NXT. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, what is it?
Why would I buy a ticket to watch these men decide who is going to be the face of NXT? Who cares?
What the fuck is that? What is that?
That's the show, by the way. That's it. That is the fucking
If you can
show.
believe it, they're having trouble pushing tickets for this. If you can believe it. Despite the fact that they have this killer TV every week. See, I'm glad that I've bullied you into covering and following NXT because I knew that you knew it was really bad. I wasn't sure if you knew how truly horrendous it really is. And I think now you have a better picture.
Yeah, it's very bad.
It's so bad. Now that you've watched it for 3 weeks in a row and you're forcing Trevor Dame to watch it.
Poor Trevor.
Thanks. He's never coming back, and it's like, could you imagine that pitch? Hey, man, do you want to co-host the Flagship? Oh, shit. What an opportunity. Yeah. Okay, here's what you need to do. You need to watch NXT and AAA this week.
Hold on. I did ask him to watch NXT, and he told a story that he had explosive diarrhea and had to vomit immediately afterwards.
Right.
Unrelated to me asking him about NXT, but possibly related. Then he watched AAA on his own accord. I told him, okay, I'm sorry. Can you watch NXT? I think it'll be funny. And he said, sure. And then I said, I'm going to watch AAA. You don't have to. And then he got on the air and he said, I did watch AAA. He did not have to do that. He chose to watch AAA.
Inviting someone to co-host this show and telling them they have to watch NXT and AAA is like inviting a girl over to your apartment and then she gets there and you're like, oh, by the way, I have the drip. It's what are you doing? She's never coming back. He's never coming back, Rich.
Oh, he loves misery. Misery loves company. He'll be back.
Well, if there's any guest that it fits their gimmick that they were forced to watch NXT and AAA,
exactly right.
It would be him.
And Sue Williams points out a great point that we did not mention. NXT Stand and Deliver, they had to tuck tail off of WrestleMania weekend and move to the factory in St. Louis and has 1,700 tickets out. We'll be streaming exclusively on YouTube in the United States and Netflix internationally. So it'll be a YouTube show because they just want you to be able to watch it for free on YouTube. That's the reason, out of the kindness of their heart, and not because nobody wants to pay for NXT television.
Correct. Because, TKO is famous for not wanting to take money for the rights to things.
Right.
So
very often try to find out the easiest way to get their fans to watch content and not have to spend money to do so. So
a very famously altruistic company that just wants to do right by the people.
Listen to that show. Good Lord. Yeah. That's NXT. That is what the former takeovers, that's what it's become.
It's pretty brutal.
Man.
And you will be watching and reviewing it.
God damn it.
Yeah.
So we had someone in the chat and says, why are we comparing any real wrestling to NXT? Here's the problem. The real wrestling, the sliver is getting smaller by the day because we're about to talk about another promotion.
Wait till you hear that Sacrifice review.
That's it.
Yeah.
AAA is the same thing. NXT is the same thing. WWE is the same thing. TNA is the same thing. And increasingly, more and more,
Pro Wrestling Noah is doing a storyline where they're threatening to send the GHC title to TNA, to NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
the sliver of real wrestling is getting smaller by the day, and that's why we continue to ring the alarm bells about this.
Bro, I lied and said I had a Japanese address and phone number to subscribe to a sketchy Japanese app to watch very sketchy and mediocre Japanese wrestling, and I'm now covering 0-1 on a weekly. That's the depths you have to go to find passable pro wrestling.
I tried to watch Indian pro wrestling, and guess what happened? They just became WWE with contract signings and GMs, and I left.
Yeah.
So
there's another one. Yeah. So it's hard, man. It's hard to find. There's a lot of bad wrestling out there. And there's not a lot of good wrestling. It's not a great scene. We should probably preview Sakura Genesis before we do Sacrifice.
To give us a buffer. Yeah, to give us a little bit of a buffer.
and the listeners for that.
Again, New Japan, you're going to tell me about a lot of House of Torture matches, and I'm supposed to believe that this is the real wrestling, but for the most part, it looks like a pretty fun show. So let's talk about Sakura Genesis.
All right. Yeah, well, at least preview the damn thing before you bury it. I mean,
Yota Tsuji, Callum Newman. That's your IWGP Heavyweight title. We'll start on the business end, and we'll work our way to the shitty tags. Tsuji versus Callum Newman. I always ask you this, percent chance that Callum Newman walks away from Sakura Genesis as the IWGP champion. I'd put that at pretty low. I'd put it at 0 too, yeah.
I think it's 0, but I think that it doesn't matter. The goal here is to have a great match. I think that there's a chance that they will have a great match. Not a lock. I think the floor is a good match. I don't think they're going to go out there and stink it up. But look, Callum Newman has successfully been elevated already by winning the New Japan Cup and being in this match to begin with. So he doesn't have to win it. And you don't want to take it off Tsuji this quickly. So you want to give him a chance to marinate. I thought maybe they would take it off him quickly when he faced Jake Lee, only because that's kind of Gato's pattern. Establish a guy. All right, great. People have seen him with the title. Now we'll tell another story with him. But once he got past that one, I don't think he'll lose to Newman. Watch him lose to Newman now. But I don't think he'll lose to Newman.
No, I don't think it's the right time. I think Newman, the story works better if he fails the first time and then can kind of work his way, back up, get better. That's right, the second time. Yeah. But again, I think the chase is going to be a little bit better for him.
Right.
We always talk about if you have Callum Newman win the title now at 23 years old or whatever, what's left? Unless you're saying, look, we don't know how long we have the guy for, so let's try to. But I think you can still. I think there's still some juice in the squeeze with Callum Newman.
Yeah. You don't have to. He's not going to be hurt at all. I want to see what the attendance is for the show. That's important because you have obviously a world champion you're trying to establish and a guy that you just pushed to the moon in the New Japan Cup. So you want to make sure that the show draws. You look. I don't know. What was the Sakura Genesis main event last year? I don't even remember off the top of my head.
Oh God, was that the Matt? That wasn't the Nick Nemeth one, was it?
No, they didn't. No. They were. They didn't work on top at Sakura Genesis. It was might have been while Goto had the belt, right?
It was Goto and Finlay.
Okay, what did that do?
That did 6,640.
Yeah, so I mean, you want to have 6,000 in the building minimum. I think that's the line.
Yeah, for sure. I'd hope you get there.
If you don't match it, you don't match it. Goto was hot there for a while. But you want to be in the neighborhood. I think you want to be in the neighborhood.
For sure. You
want to be inside the gates. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in the cheaper neighborhood one block over, and you definitely don't want to be in the trailer park across the tracks. You want to be in the gate, and you want to be in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I've seen nothing on the movement so far for these tickets, so we'll see what ends up happening there. But I'm interested in the match. Should be a lot of fun. And,
I'm definitely interested in the match.
Yeah.
I'm invested in Callum Newman. I find it interesting.
Yeah,
so I want to see, and Tsuji. Is he going to win it with another fucking Boston Crab? I'm interested in that too. So, it's a fresh look. You of all people, sir, can't complain.
Right.
This is what you've been screaming
This is it.
for.
Yeah, this is what I've been asking for a long time.
So you got to put the proverbial money where your mouth is. You got to do the old Tony Khan Continental Classic gimmick. Put your fucking money where your fucking mouth is.
So I'm going to do something and then just not actually act on it at all.
Oh, you're brutal. The Swink is going to be upset.
Because people did put their money where their mouth was, and then he just went, fuck you. I'm going to go back to sports entertainment. But thanks anyway. So.
Oh, they've been good. They've been good.
They've been good. The Continental Classics have been great.
They got some flaws. He gave us a 3-way final year one, which
right.
But
no, for the most part, it's been a very nice, refreshing way to end the AW year. Yeah. Semi-main, which I'm literally looking forward to. I don't know if you are. Maybe they'll win you over here. The Knockout Bros, Oscar and Yuta Ice versus Rohei Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, this should be really fucking great. So I hope they win you over here. Maybe this will be the time, the moments, the match that gets you finally invested in the Knockout Brothers.
We'll see.
We'll see. Television title match. Now this one's I'm really looking forward to because I think Umino's shown some great growth recently, ever since the tag team. Konosuke Takeshita versus Shota Umino. So it'll be TV title, so they'll obviously have the time limit, I think, right? They'll, even if it's a major show, I think they'll still be holding to the time limit. So
not only is it the 15-minute time limit, but I don't know how many people know this. Every world television title match is still for free on New Japan World. So you don't have to subscribe. You'll get this match for free. Every TV title match is still free. That is still, because remember, I don't know if a lot of people remember that. That was part of the gimmick with this thing.
That was part of the hook, yeah. That was going to be available for you, but I'm really interested to see, because this is Umino now who has, a lot of people I think are going a little too. We talked about this last week. A lot of people I think are going a little too hard and like, oh, he's completely figured it out. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but this is a great opportunity to show the growth that he's made, because he's in there with one of the best wrestlers in the world, and this should be really fucking great. 15 minutes, title match, third from the top, sumo hall. Like, there's no reason for this not to rock. So we'll see. We'll see if it delivers. And that, unfortunately, is the extent of the business end of the card. The never open weights 6-man tag titles, Bishiman and Oleg Boltin defending against the Texas Outlaw, Chase Owens, Ren Narita, and Yujiro Takahashi of the House of Torture.
Why aren't you including this title match in the business end of the show?
Yeah. Well, I won't be watching it. I have declared I am done with House of Torture matches, so I'm just skipping them all.
That's it. You're out.
It's not worth the time. They're all the same. I don't care. If somebody comes back to me and says it's really good, somebody I trust, I'll watch them, but I'm not wasting my time with these fuckers anymore.
You sound like Mark Cuban every time there's a real estate pitch on Shark Tank. Real estate's not my game, so for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah.
You are. House of Torture is not my game, so for that reason, I'm out.
No, I'm out.
You're out.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I don't want to watch him anymore. I don't want to review him anymore. I don't want to talk about him anymore. I don't want the discourse around him is annoying. Everybody's heard my complaints 1,000 times, and then you make those complaints, and people say, well, they sell merch. They're over in the buildings. Okay, fine. Then be over in the buildings. Sell your merch. I'm good. I'm not watching it anymore. It's the same shit every single time. I'm done.
Wow. I
let go of my. I was gonna completely boycott New Japan for a while, but the New Japan Cup won me over. The semifinals and the finals were refreshing enough, but I still have declared that I can't do House of Torture anymore.
So Rich is out. It's down to Damon John and Mr. Wonderful, and whichever of the two women happen to be on that week.
right.
The long-haired woman and the short-haired woman, whichever one they have in there, and that's
Barb.
It.
It's either Barb or what the other. I forget the other one's name.
What's the long-haired name one?
The QVC girl. I don't know.
Lori Griner, right?
Lori
Griner, and Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful.
I love that show.
And the Croatian guy whose name I can't pronounce.
Robert Hershevek.
Hershevek.
I think it's not that hard. I think it's just Hershevek.
He's got a Croatian national team name from '92, and that guy. I actually sat through. He was a paid speaker for a company I was working for once. We got the Croatian guy from Shark Tank.
Oh, nice! I love he shows up, no tie, buttoned down a little bit. I'm like a normal guy. Probably showed up in his Lamborghini and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he was a. We got him one year. And then for the same company, we got
was this a pizza company that you were?
It was. It
okay.
was one of our hoity-toity fucking seminar / conventions in Vegas that they would take us to every year. And we had him one year as the speaker. The next year we had Bill Rancic, who was the winner of the first Apprentice.
Of course. Yeah. I know Bill. He's a Chicago celebrity, unfortunately. We have very few celebrities, so unfortunately we see him a lot where it's like, whoa, what are him and I forget his wife's name, but it's like they were spotted walking around the lakefront. And it's just like, leave these people alone. Like, don't do this. It's Bill and what's the wife's name? I forget her gimmick.
His wife,
Juliana something. I forget what. She was like the host of some like E News or something like that. It was some E News or something like that. But it's for a while it'd be like, well, they're spotted like on Michigan Avenue buying stuff, and it's like, come on, leave these poor people alone. They're not that big of celebrities. Just let them shop for God's sake.
She's buying a blouse. Leave her alone.
Right? Do we really need Bill Rancic updates this often? Like, we don't. And luckily, I think that they died out a little bit. I think they've died out, or they moved away. Whatever happened, I don't know which one. But
I mean, I guess I'm not in Chicago, so I haven't heard from Bill Rancic since he gave that seminar.
Yeah, we unfortunately get a lot
10 years ago.
So what did he tell you? He's like, yeah, real estate. I won The Apprentice.
Have you ever sat in a business seminar with a
awful
guest speaker? I mean, that's what he did. Well, here's what I was running a golf course for Donald Trump, and it's like, I'm not getting anything out of this.
I'm trying to sell pizzas. What does this have to do with breadstick margins?
It's
like,
always
what the
fuck? Same shit. It's not. It's just as much about the people as the price. It's always the same spiel that they give you. It's always the same. Always about the people and hiring people. And then the next year they switched gears and we got a performance from the cast of Jersey Boys for some reason. That's actually pretty good. I was going to say
you sound like somebody who was like, hey, you know what? It's kind of good.
I was standing at my table, snapping my fingers.
Yeah, right.
I was like, big girls don't cry. I'm standing up there, snapping my fingers. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
See, that I would rather tolerate that than like some fucking business guy being like, oh, yeah, it's all about, the people that work for you. If you get good people and people work hard, anything is possible in business. It's like, yeah, shut up.
They did every song.
Wow. All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Don't cry. Yeah, it was great. Then we had, the fat comedian who died. Who's
Ralphie
the fat
May?
It was the other fat comedian who died.
I don't know if Ralphie May's dead. I apologize if he's not dead.
He is dead. He's dead.
Okay. Fat dead comedian. I hate to have to look this up. Yeah, this is a terrible.
He died like
Google
a month later too, or something. John Panette. It was remember John Panette?
I don't know if I remember John Panette.
No, Google him right now.
Oh, he was a big old boy. Yeah, okay.
Like his whole gimmick too was all the jokes were fat jokes. Like, I'm a big fat guy. Look at me, I'm a big fat guy. We got him, and like literally a month later he died.
Oh.
So this had to be like maybe almost 15 years ago at this point, 10 years ago, whatever it was. And then, and then Carrot Top, of course. I talk about that all the time. He was fantastic. I mean, he was just outstanding.
Someone said Patrice O'Neal. No, not that fat comedian that died.
No, not, yeah. Also a dead fat comedian. Correct. John Panette.
John Panette.
Is the dead fat comedian in question here. He was having trouble up there too. He was dabbing himself with the fucking rag, and
that might have been too. I don't know if I'd bring a fat comedian to a pizza convention, but
well, it was in Vegas. We weren't eating pizza.
I just mean the temptation of discussing pizza.
He was just doing his hour. He wasn't talking about pizza. He was doing his hour.
His 60, doing his 60.
Yeah, right, correct. That was very unique.
Because this wasn't like a trade show. This was just like a meeting in Las Vegas, right?
This was all of the hot shots from said company at a convention.
So it was a pizza convention, but there was like you weren't looking at ovens or whatever in the hallways.
Well,
right?
there a part of the convention involved a showcase of people trying to sell us shit. Yes.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. I think the fat comedian walks the halls and he's just like, God damn, there's a lot of pizza out here.
Well, I don't know if he showed up to the showcase of the pizza ovens.
I see. He probably came into the back door of the MGM Grand Arena or whatever the hell.
He showed up at the MGM Grand Arena to our ballroom, and he did his hour, and we paid him his $50,000, and he left.
Okay,
I think that's he didn't come to the next day.
The halls and going, that oven is pretty good. I do see
right, exactly. Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah,
that is a good knife. The margins, we could definitely reduce the time on order with these
on our cut table with our new efficient knife. No, he wasn't. but we did have prototype future products that we got to.
This is what I'm saying. How do you know he wasn't walking the halls?
I mean, he may have.
Getting intel.
Maybe he got in there and tasted the new whatever product that we were innovating at that time that never ended up making it into stores because they never do. These chefs for these companies, they come up with dozens of ideas that you never see because they have to justify their existence. They don't care if these items are good or they're cost effective or they taste good or they look good or they just have to invent shit. And then we sample it at these fucking conventions and then the big wigs decide, we're not going to do any of them. And you should see the wacky food items that get pitched to us at these sorts of things. The ones that likely did in John Panette as he wandered around and sampled all of the wares from
the various stuffed crusts and yeah, different.
So what happens is we people try to sell us ovens. We get John Panette's Best 60. We get a seminar from Bill Rancic. Then everyone tries to fuck each other and gamble, and then we all fly home 3 days later. That's
sounds awesome.
Really what
sounds really fucking cool, actually. Yeah,
that's totally what goes on at these things. It's and you have me doing whatever the fuck I'm doing in Vegas until 6:30 in the morning when I have to be in a meeting at 7:30, and then dragging ass with giant bags under my eyes and falling asleep at the fucking table. And it's just the worst place in the world. But every company does them there. Yeah. And I don't understand why. You should do these things in like Cleveland or Des Moines. Or
Des Moines. Yeah, Sheboygan is a great place to.
Well, I worked for another company, and they used to do them like in Wichita. Like I used to go to Wichita all the time. Let me tell you, we were all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning because there's nothing to fucking do in Wichita, right? Even the hotel bar closes at like 9:30.
Right.
So
it's you had to lock in for that 11 a.m. meeting or 7 a.m. meeting to discuss the cut table time.
Yeah, what we're gonna do promo-wise in the next year. Like you go to Vegas, everyone's fucking either hungover, they haven't slept. They were just with a prostitute.
Right. The cocaine high is just maybe wearing off.
Right. Yeah.
They're either hungover each other. They're just got STDs that have just been passed around the executive level. Yeah, who the hell knows? Yeah.
Yes, because the city never closes and there's just too much trouble to get into. So, yeah.
It's there because the executives want to do blow and fuck each other is why it's in Las Vegas.
That's exactly it. It's right. That's exactly the reason. There's no other
the
reason.
underlings, yeah, you guys are probably going to do the same, but maybe not to the same extent that they're going to do it. So,
right, they just have more money to do those things than we do, so they get the higher class of hooker, and the better blow and all of those things. But yeah, that's why. It's because the people who run the company want to be in Las Vegas. That's exactly it. And then they get mad at you when you're tired at the meeting.
Right.
Like, how am I supposed to resist everything around me? I was single then too. Like, what the fuck? You're gonna send me? Me? Yeah, you're like, I know I don't drink, but believe me, I can find trouble in Las Vegas. I had no, I had no problem.
If there's
finding
a town
trouble.
where a silver man could still find a lot of trouble, it is certainly Las Vegas. So
yes,
and trouble you found. All right, that was better than us talking about House of Torture. El Desperado Taichi and Yuya Uemura versus Great Okan Hanare and Will Ospreay. Yes, Will is back, and he can't resist the temptation to fucking work. My man loves professional wrestling, and he's back.
He does, and I suspect we're going to get the next step in the angle, right? Maybe here. I mean, why else? Is he just coming here to, I don't know, hit an os cutter on Taichi and put him away and fly back home? I would think that we're going to get the next step in progression in this storyline.
Yeah, with Callum, finally turning on him, or finally, or maybe not even turning on him, but
just the next step.
Yeah,
something,
yeah, whatever that might be.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe the other two turning on him, and I don't know. So so I assume we'll get something.
Aaron Wolf and his lame ass friends Master Wato, Toru Yano, and Yo against Don Fale, Dookie, Sho, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
Okay, so
House of Torture.
Did everyone just hear the lineup for that 8-man tag? Okay. Also now consider that Chase Owens, Ren Narita, and Yujiro Takahashi are getting a title match on this show. And look at the lineup for that 8-man tag. And then ask yourself why New Japan is trying to poach other companies for talent. Ask yourself that question. Look at those two matches.
Yeah, well, they don't have to book those people, though.
Oh, then who's going to be on the show?
Well, anybody. You don't have to book Don Fale.
I think
right?
You do.
Because you don't ever have to book Ren Narita, Chase Owens, and Don Fale.
Right, but then who's going to do the same spots with Aaron Wolf that we saw for the last 3 shows?
Anyone.
Well, it has to be with Don Fale, though. Don Fale is the roadblock, you see. He is the House of Torture roadblock for Aaron Wolf, and we have to get the same spots again. Yep. That's how it has to be. Because we have to sap everything interesting out of Aaron Wolf to where we're already looking at Aaron Wolf matches going, this fucking shit
we're in
again.
April. I was about to say, we're in April, and I'm already like, all right, Aaron Wolf, Master Watson, Toriano, Yo. All right. And then move on. And it's like, how do we already got there? We're already there.
Oh, we're
by
there,
April.
baby. That's what the house does. Mm-hmm. That is what the house does. And you're going to watch them in a title match 2 matches later.
Well, I'm not.
And not just
you,
the house.
big you, not me. It ain't gonna be me. I'll tell you that. It'll be someone else.
Not just the house, but the last outlaw and huge in a night. Listen, this is back-to-back major New Japan shows where huge is in a title match. And people are wondering why they're poaching talent. Yujiro Takahashi is in back-to-back title matches on New Japan shows, people. Huge. He's going to hit that Miami shine and take home the gold.
So we're being told in the chat room that there's been some changes to this card. That Tiger Mask is now in for Wato in this match, and Dookie is... Yeah, I said Dookie. I said he was already in there, but Wato and Makabe will face Hartley and Fujita instead. I don't know.
Hartley and...
So Hartley Jackson and Fujita will face Master Wato and Togi Makabe.
And
Tiger Mask is filling in for
Rich,
for Master Wato.
They just swapped Tiger Mask and Master Wato.
Well, Tiger Mask is an infinitely cooler man for Aaron Wolf to hang out with. So Aaron Wolf should now show up with a pack of cigarettes and a bad attitude, and we will have hopefully...
They simply swapped the 2 men.
Yeah, which is fine. That's good. That's a much cooler person.
But you have to wonder why they did that. And I think I know the reason.
Because Tiger Mask is taking the fall?
No, because he's going to get a title match against Dookie at some point. Before he retires.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why they swapped that out.
Okay.
So he might pin Dookie. Or, I mean, they might not be that bold. They might have him. They might have him
I love
challenge.
it. It's a great booking, but yeah,
I love it too.
He's probably not going to be involved in the fall, but then afterwards, while all the rigmarole's happening, Tiger Mask's going to grab the mic and point to Dookie and say, title match. Yeah,
he might challenge him.
Yeah.
Right. I think because why else would you Windhorse fingers? Why else would you do this? Right. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Or is Tiger Mask? Someone says Tiger Mask is the next junior challenger. I don't know if that's locked in yet. Is it?
I don't know. If it is, then I'm a genius because I just worked it out without knowing that.
Figured it out, yeah.
Because I'm very smart and handsome.
Did you know that my man Tiger Mask is coming to WrestleMania weekend for one show and it's like unsanctioned pro and some 6-man tag? Like, it's very weird. He's not getting on that plane.
Is he coming?
No. Myself and John Carroll just re-recorded a preview, a WrestleMania weekend preview for the Japanese shows and all the Japanese wrestlers that are going to be there WrestleMania week. And our theory is that my man is not getting on that plane. And that if you're buying a ticket to that show, you should probably, if like you want to buy a ticket to that show, I don't know why, but if you want to buy a ticket to that show and Tiger Mask is the reason why you want to buy that ticket, you might want to just show up the day of and check the social media to see if old TM4 is going to make his way there, because I don't think he's getting on that plane.
Yeah.
He wouldn't go to the Jersey J Cup to wrestle Dynamite Kid. I don't know that he's flying to Vegas to...
Well, he's got to be facing Dookie, otherwise they wouldn't have made that change.
Yeah,
so that's what they're doing.
So apparently they already shot the angle today. So I didn't watch today's Korakuen.
There was a Korakuen today.
Okay, so apparently they already shot the angle, and that's why it's all happening. So there you go.
Someone wanted to know if we were reviewing the Korakuen, and I was like, I don't have time to watch this shit.
No, busy life.
Fucking Yo was in the main event.
Wasn't the main event Show versus Yo or something like that? I'm like, I'm good.
No, it was Yo versus Dookie.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. No, thank you.
And there was a junior tag title match too with. Let's get through this and we'll talk about it.
Okay, all right. United Empire, Francesco Akira, Jake Lee, and Jacob Austin Young versus the Unbound Co. of Robbie X, Shingo Takagi, and Taiji Ishimori.
Sure.
Great. Master Wato and Togi Makabe versus Hartley Jackson and Kosei Fujita. And then in a pre-show, Kushida and Yasuda versus Nakahara and Matsumoto, the two, a bunch of the Young Lions. So
that's on the 4th. Today in Korakuen, Dookie defeated Yo. 21-minute Dookie Yo match. You lock it in. You're going to go back and make sure you catch that, Rich?
You know what? I think I'm going to miss that one. I think that Sakura Genesis is just coming up, I'm just going to lock in on what's happening.
In on that.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Unbound Co., the jeans company, did successfully
Diesel jeans,
defend the junior tag
titles. The buckle unit.
Francisco Akira and Jacob Austin Young came up short. I'm betting Jacob Austin Young took that fall. So.
I think that's a safe assumption.
And apparently, according to the chat, they shot the angle with Tiger Mask and Dookie. So there you go. That explains your switch. And that is now for the Super Juniors. We got 2 more entrants to go, but everybody else has been named. Do you have that in front of you, or do we have to dig that up?
Let me grab it. I can grab it for you right now because I was about to actually go there, so that is going to work pretty easily. So, yeah, they've done a cool little rollout where they've just kind of little by little rolled out the names. Yeah, 3 names a night, which is cool. Oh, shoot, I thought I had it. Let me see. Yeah, 10% best of the Super Juniors. We'll get it here before we get to TNA. Okay. Loading. Loading. Okay, I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
Kushida. Great. Ryusuke Taguchi. 22nd.
Fuck off.
22nd time.
They can't sign these new juniors fast enough.
I know, seriously. Can we get somebody else other than Ryusuke Taguchi? Hyo, his debut. Hyo making his debut in Best of the Super Juniors. Taiji Ishimori. Here's a young whippersnapper here. Taiji Ishimori. His 10th entry, his 9th consecutive for him. Robbie X. Second time for Robbie X. Teton will be making it there. 7th time for Teton.
We'll see with that foot. We'll see with the foot.
Oh, that's right. He got hurt. Yeah.
He's got a broken foot, but I mean, they announced him knowing he has a broken foot, so I assume he feels like he's going to be healthy in time, or maybe he'll bring like Futura with him to step into his play.
Right. Robbie Eagles, his 8th consecutive Best of the Super Juniors. It happened so quickly that we're 8 consecutive years for Robbie Eagles. Francesco Akira, his 5th straight Best of the Super Juniors. Jacob Austin Young making his debut in Best of the Super Juniors. Master Wato, his 6th time in this. Yo, his 8th time in Best of the Super Juniors. And then Valiente Jr. making his debut. Sho, 9th straight time for Sho. Yoshinobu Kanemura, his 9th time, 6th consecutive. And then Daisuke Sasaki coming out of nowhere to join this. His 3rd entry, but his first time in 14 years for him.
He could go back as far as I'm
concerned. Yeah. Kosei Fujita, his 3rd entry, and then Dookie, his 7th entry. 7 entries for Dookie. God, time is just...
After he was an injury replacement.
Right, that feels like yesterday. I can't believe it's been 7 years since he did that. Wow. Mm-hmm. And then El Desperado, his 10th entry, 7th consecutive for him. And then 2 more left to go from that.
Even Despy being around 10 years is kind of blowing my mind. But, there's 2 more to go. Some fun speculation that it could be the new Tiger Mask and the new Black Tiger as the last 2 entries.
Okay, so it'd be Magnus and
Dragon Dia.
Yeah,
the new Tiger Mask. Who knows? But because who else is left on the roster? There's no one left on the roster that could be those last 2 spots. So it could be 2 new signings. It could be I don't know what they're gonna do. Doesn't look that good though.
No, a lot of there's a couple debuts there that are, Hyo's fun. Daisuke Sasaki, I'm not too interested in.
Yeah, this is not exactly the 1994 Super J Cup.
No, a lot of I don't know that I necessarily need Kanemura and Ryusuke
I don't need 80%
and Kushida.
of the guys.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
It's not a great lineup.
No, it's not. Yeah, there you go.
See, with the last 2 entries could change everything.
They're right. They probably won't, but they could. All right. TNA Sacrifice. Bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch, but I'll take your word for it.
What? You had to watch that. You're lying.
Nah, I watched it.
Of course. Yeah, of course you did. You got to lock in on the TNA Premium Live event, TNA Sacrifice. So,
yes.
The main event, now this isn't their fault. The main event was 2 minutes long because Mike Santana did a super kick to Steve Macklin, hit him right in the fucking face. And Macklin stumbled, and he clearly had some sort of concussive thing going on, and they stopped the match. And they brought Eddie Edwards out to brawl with Mike Santana for a little bit. Mike Santana put him through a table, and then we just kind of signed off. So,
yeah, he got fucked up. His hand was all stuck up in the air and something neurological. They claim he didn't get concussed. A lot of people find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, he was fencing, so I find that some
does that
trauma.
Mean you had a concussion? No,
it doesn't necessarily mean, but it means there was trauma to the brain. So whatever that is, or whatever, he had brain trauma for sure, and that's you don't want to fuck with that.
And the ref put a stop to the match, and then she comes over and starts whispering to Santana, probably that Eddie Edwards is coming out, so this is how we're going to handle this. Then they had their little brawl, and he put him through the table, and they sent the fans home happy. But, yeah, this match that they built with Macklin getting fired with the Feaster fired and then attacking Santana on TV on what was supposed to be his last night. I just don't like shitting on that stip, which has been a good stip for them and something that people are interested in. And the guy never, he got his job back. Like he was the one fight. Like they should save that for people who are actually leaving the company, because that stip can continue to have weight every year if they use it in that way.
No, he basically never left. He was basically just there
left.
every single week.
Yeah, he never left. So, I would, I'd be careful with that. It's something you could do now and then, I guess, but I would want that to have weight when people open up that case and it says fired, they're gone, because you can build off of that and build interest in the Feaster fired match. And then the briefcase reveals the next week if people buy into it. You do shit like this and people don't buy it, then why would you care about it if you know it's just going to be an angle?
Mm-hmm. And it's like you said, it's been a very protected and very well done stipulation in TNA history so far. So for it to be just so callously thrown out, and just the guy never ever left. He was just always there.
Right.
Now they did a couple things where he had to come through the crowd. He doesn't work here anymore. What's he doing? And then he was just signed, and then he was just back. So
right.
So not anybody's fault, but this match didn't really deliver very much. You had the System, Brian Myers and Cedric Alexander defeating Jeff Hardy and Vincent. But, Joe, despite your guys, the Righteous, telling the Hardys that they were on their side and they like violence or whatever, it was not to be, because halfway through this match, or towards the end of this match, Jeff Hardy is told to look to the video board. He looks to the video board, and WWE Dutch has done some damage to Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy's in a pool of blood backstage, and Vincent laughs, and Dutch laughs, and Hardy goes, "No." I can't believe the ultra-violent guys that attack everybody would attack my brother backstage. So, yeah.
And then that distraction cost them the match. It led to the finish. So,
can they coexist, Joe? The answer is no. No, they cannot.
It's just, look, TNA
fucking stinks. God.
This is the thing about TNA. It sucks real bad.
It sucks ass.
It's unwatchable garbage. So it's just junk like this, and this was hardly the worst thing on the show.
No,
and this was
by far
and it was horrible.
Not the worst thing on the show.
But Hardy's teaming with Vincent, and then Matt Hardy. The video board. We're all watching a video board of WWE Dutch and a bloody Matt Hardy in the back. I just want to watch a wrestling match, man.
Right, he's all gagged, and like they show, and there's just a massive pool of blood behind him, just like an absolute, like the man would be dead if there was that amount of blood loss for him, and it's just like, all right.
It's just corny. How can anyone enjoy this? It's just it's garbage. And after that and before the main event, they had that Elegance brand thing where they come out.
Oh.
And they're just calling people marks. Like what? They're like, "Oh, you're a mark. These fans are all marks. ODB is a mark." And then ODB comes out, and she brings out Taryn Terrell.
We're doing Taryn Terrell like retrospective.
And ODB.
Yeah.
And then they bring out Mickie James,
Hardcore Country, who gets the massive pop, and I'm like, oh, God.
And then they run off the Elegance brand. Okay. I got to get into the mind of the person who is like, "Oh, snap. I can't wait to see the Elegance brand get in there with ODB, Taryn Terrell, and Mickie James. I can't wait for this. Is this going to – I hope this is not – my fingers are tightly crossed because I want this to be AMC, baby, where I could see it for free. I hope they don't make me pay for this incredible 6-woman match. I need to get into the mind of the person who is like looking forward to this.
Right. I cannot wait to watch the match. Taryn Terrell can do a drop kick and I can chant, "You still got it." I can't wait to see that match and see M by Elegance and H by Elegance and Mr. Elegance. And I can't wait to see them get their comeuppance.
Well, I can tell you this. There's no way in this world it will be worse than Mara Sade over Elena Black.
Oh, God.
No DQ. Store this one away for worst match of the year, by the way.
Has to be a contender. Has to be a contender for sure.
Bad.
Right. They have a plunder match, and it's just every fucking plunder match you've ever seen. 3 minutes in, we go under the ring for the toys. We got WWE black chairs. We got kendo sticks. We have tables. We have trash cans. We're pretending that these things hurt, even though everybody hits each other with these same weapons every single fucking show on every single WWE adjacent thing. And then we get thumbtacks. Oh my God, thumbtacks. And then Elena Black falls into the thumbtacks. And it's like, God, who is the person that's still like, oh boy, I don't know, a trash can lid to the head, that's gonna hurt. Like, who's that person? Were you born yesterday? Who could possibly see this and go, oh man, wow, Mara FKA Jakara Jackson really giving it to Elena Black there with a trash can lid? Like, what the fuck is happening here?
You know how bad you have to be to get cut from the NXT women's roster? And that's what we had in here. Two people cut from
and it
the
showed,
NXT
and it
roster.
showed, and it showed.
And I think there's this idea with wrestling promotions where they think to themselves, we can hide how bad people are if we put them in plunder. And I understand that on paper that makes sense. And sometimes that even works. The problem is, and we talk about this all the time with NXT, these people don't know how to work plunder matches. And then they used to do the same thing with who was the woman that was part of Hit Row? What the hell was her name?
Oh, you're thinking of shit. What's her name? It's on the top of my BFAB.
They used to do this with BFAB when she had like less than 10 matches under her belt. They'd put her out there in kendo stick matches and these plunder matches. And the thing is, if you're a terrible or green or inexperienced wrestler, you're going to be even worse sometimes in these kinds of matches because you don't know how to work. You can't
if you
work
don't
at all,
understand
period.
how to work a fake fight, then you're not going to be able to work a fake fight where you hit each other with weapons either.
Right.
But we've just decided that's and every one of these matches is exactly the same fucking match.
And I'm so proud of myself with this Elena Black because when they signed her when she was 19 and they brought her in as Cora Jade, I was like, you know what? You can't be signing people when they're 19 and they've only had like 20 matches under their belt and they're inexperienced. And she wasn't good on the indies. She had the coffin and she wasn't good. She was 100% gimmick. She couldn't work. I was like, this is a mistake for two reasons. She's 19 and inexperienced, and also she sucks. And you could see that there's nothing there. Like, sometimes you can tell that someone is never going to be good. And my argument all along is she's never going to be good. And then she has the Cora Jade run, and she predictably is not good. She's bad. She can't do anything. She can't promo. She can't wrestle. She has no redeeming value. They try to send her to TNA. She's awful on TNA television. Clearly didn't want to be there either. Felt it was a demotion. They cut her. And then TNA signs her.
They sign her, and people and these grifter ass media have to pretend that it's a big signing. I mean, because that after the AMC debut, that was the one where people were like, "Oh, Elena Black," and it's like, what are you talking about? She sucks. She's been bad. She's been bad on NXT, and she's been bad in this company. Why would she be good all of a sudden? And guess what?
Why would she be good? We just saw the Cora Jade run, and it was awful. She stinks.
And the crowd does not give a fuck. I mean, she came out on this TNA show and got crickets. They don't give a fuck about her.
No one cares about her because she isn't good. She can't promo. She doesn't have the ability to make people care about her. We saw this in NXT. They they pushed her to the fucking moon,
They did.
Rich.
Yep. She was one of the featured women on that show for a year.
Because she's bad. Real bad. And they sent her, and TNA had her, and she was awful. She was so bad on their TV. And
worse yet, like you said, didn't want to be there. And that would have been the tell that I'm never bringing this person back in because she thinks this is beneath her.
And then you pay her? And then you pay her?
Carlos.
Based on what? Based on the fact that she was on NXT TV for 2 years and meant nothing, by the way. Meant absolutely less than nothing. So where's the value? Why? Why? As someone who disrespected your company to begin with by showing up and not giving a fuck and being awful on TV and then you sign her and you reward her with a contract. It's, by the way, I know she didn't come cheap because she was making all kinds of money on OnlyFans or whatever the fuck she was on. I'm sure it was OnlyFans. So why? This is such a waste of money. This match was brutal.
This is real bad.
It's so bad. So,
we'll talk about. Do you want to talk about the Mara Sade Rosemary thing now, or
let's just do it now since we're talking about her now. Yeah. Well, the floor is yours.
Well, God, we go backstage and Mara Sade she had an argument with Allie's here again. The bunny is back in TNA. So Mara Sade meets up with the bunny, and Allie, I forget what she said, just something, and then a bunny with blood all over it shows up.
Real Vincent Gallo hours.
Yeah, and Mara Sade goes, this is ridiculous, and runs away. And then she runs into like another hallway, and Rosemary's there. But they had to Brian Arakpo Rosemary. Because
yes, they did.
Because Mara Sade shows up and Rosemary goes, I knew you'd come. And she goes, wait, you're Rosemary. And I'm like, oh, God.
She not only said that, she said, wait, you're Rosemary of the undead realm.
And I'm like, if you have to address her as that, then maybe don't have Rosemary in the segment. Like, if Rosemary means so little to your audience that you have to say Mara Sade, I have to say, wait a minute, I know who you are. You're Rosemary of the undead realm.
You are Brian Arakpo, all-pro linebacker. Which, by the way, he was never an all-pro. But yes, we had to...
we have to... And then I don't even remember.
Rosemary.
At this point, like, I have just... Mara Sade wearing a shirt that said, taste this? Across her bosom? So I don't know what she wants us to taste. But
she does a what that tongue do gimmick.
Yeah. She comes out and she is not licking a lollipop, folks. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Yeah, she's licking something else. And she wants you to taste this. Yeah, she is a dirty woman. So I forget what happened, but all of a sudden, like Hey,
look, don't cancel me. Cancel Tummy Dreamer, because I'm not the booker.
Right, I didn't write this shit. Yeah, don't ask me.
Yeah. I just have to watch it, unfortunately.
So then Rosemary is just like, and then the Enchanted Forest, and I don't know what the hell's going on. And then all of a sudden, like
the bunny and then
like a light shows up, like this orb shows up, and then Mara Sade looks at the orb and is like, "What is that?" And Rose, "What is this? What the fucking am I watching?
Why are there orbs?
What the fuck is?
Why are there orbs? Why are there orbs?
Where's Bob Sweetan?
We just made 90 minutes on Dennis Condrey.
Right,
he never once looked through a fucking orb. Okay? Why are there orbs? A better question. Why are you a grown adult watching this show? For pleasure. For pleasure. You think this is good? I have to know who thinks this is good.
Mara Sade selling the orb. Going,
sold
what was
the orb.
that? What is this?
She sold the fucking Vincent Gallo bunny. She sold everything. Who is this for?
And you have to watch this back. I do think because the acting and the talking. Now, by the way, it's a WWE produce. It's TNA, but they have to. So both their shoulders are they're standing in positions that no humans would ever stand in. Right. Having this weird conversation while a red backlit wall is behind them. And they're just, Rosemary of the undead realm, what are you doing here? You don't have anything to do with my future championship opportunities. I am going to be my own woman. It's going to win my own matches. And I'm like, what the fuck
what are we
is this?
Doing the buzzwords, the fucking orbs.
It sucks.
Fucking bloody bunnies.
So Moose.
Fucking double entendres sucking on lollipops.
Yeah, taste this. Okay. Moose defeats Eddie Edwards. I didn't realize that Alicia Edwards has left the system along with Moose.
Yeah, she quit this because you weren't watching the TV. Okay?
Right.
She quit the
so
the
she's
system.
with Moose against her own husband.
They didn't tell her they were jumping Moose and kicking him out.
She wasn't in on the plan. Okay.
And she was like, fuck that. My contract's coming up and I don't need this, Eddie. I don't need this, Eddie. And she stormed out of there.
Chopping on the gum. Chopping on her gum, yeah.
And she now manages Moose.
Okay.
Because Yeah.
Well, Moose defeated Eddie Edwards by disqualification in 30 seconds because then the rest of the system ran in and beat him up.
Right. Bill Collier.
Oh, they did the thing where Bill Collier showed up and God, the thing I hate the most. Bill Collier attacks Moose. They do this in AAA all the time. Another great example. When Omos shows up, the camera looks at his feet. And the announcers have to go, who is that? Who is that? Yeah. Who is that? Oh, whose feet is that? And we cannot reveal who this person is until the camera
right in front of you fucking idiot.
Pans up, and then it's Omos. Oh, it's Bill Collier. Okay. But we have to have fucking Phillips and Drama King Matt go, who is that? Who's attacking Moose? And then the camera has to pan up, and only once the camera shows it can we make this appear to be an actual living, breathing fake sport, or do we have to be a show about pro wrestling?
You have to be knockoff WWE.
God.
That's all they know how to do. WWE is bad enough, but when it's knockoff dollar store, here's the point I always make. People already have WWE. And if they already like that, why are they going to like the fucking dollar store version of it? They're not. Do something different. And in this case, these guys are literally sitting at ringside. They're right in front. The guy's right in front of them. Why would, if you're a functioning adult, why would you watch this?
I don't know.
Who are these 240,000 brain dead motherfuckers watching this show every week? 240,000 people sit down on a fucking Thursday night after a long day at work at the mill, and they get the remote and they plop down on their couch and they put the kids to bed. They put the wife to bed, and they sit down on the couch and they go, "Oh, finally!"
Maybe a bowl of popcorn on their lap.
Yeah, a little popcorn. Yeah, maybe a sandwich,
soda, a diet soda.
Fucking bologna and American cheese sandwich, and they sit down on their couch and they say, "Finally, some me time." And I'm going to spend that me time watching 2 hours of some total nonstop action with orbs. And fucking guys that get fired that aren't fired, and Matt Hardy getting kidnapped. This is what I'm going to do with my time. My me time. Who are these fucking people? What else do they do? What is the rest of their life like that they enjoy this shit? What is the rest of their life like? What do they do for work? Do they have families? What are their kids like? Are they being raised right? I have a lot of questions.
Right, those animals. I wonder if they have animals. Are the animals being fed properly? Yeah.
If they enjoy this, what else do they enjoy? Satanic black magic, sick shit. I don't know what they're enjoying.
So Order 4, Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz, they defeat Jada Stone and Trey Miguel. It's a match where Ali beat on Jada Stone the entire time, so he had some intergender, and he's not supposed to beat up the woman. It's supposed to be, like a mixed tag, whatever, but he gets in there and just kind of beats the hell out of her for a while, keeps pinning her, and then lifting her up at 2, and then eventually hits his finishing move on her and pins her while Trey Miguel has to watch. So, cool.
It was
fine. It was decent professional wrestling.
Action wasn't bad.
This was the chat just in all caps. The Elegance brand in all caps. Order 4. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We know. So they zip tied Trey Miguel here.
Yeah.
And then that left
Jada Stone.
I'm out of gas.
Yeah, you're fine. Jada Stone all on her own.
Jada Stone on her own. And Ali hits her with the dance with the devil, but then he picks her up. He doesn't. He could have pinned her. And then he hit the 450. So, I don't know.
Sure.
When this is the best match on a given show.
By far the best match on the show.
It's like, what do we... Why are people watching TNA?
TNA
it's
Knockouts.
As bad as it's ever been.
It's so bad. Yeah, TNA Knockouts.
So bad.
World title. Triple threat match. So, Ariana Grace with your boy Channing Stacks Lorenzo defeats Dani Luna and Li Ying Li. You're not going to believe what happened here. Li Ying Li has a pinfall on Dani Luna, and then Ariana Grace. I could not believe when this happened. You know how people put that their hands on their head? I think it's called the scorpion or whatever it's called. Yeah. That was me. When Ariana Grace ran in, threw Li Yingling off, and pinned Dani Luna despite the fact that she did not hit that move.
Somebody
on Dani Luna.
send this to Hunter Johnston and Tommy Dreamer. You guys are so bereft of ideas. You have nothing. You have nothing. You guys stink.
Get one good idea. Have one original fucking idea, you losers.
Please, one original thought. You guys are terrible. Everyone else involved too. Whoever else is involved. You guys fucking stink. There's nothing original in this fucking company ever. It's knockoff WWE and shit like this. The same old shit, the same old finishes, perfectly legal Cole, no DQ in a three-way. Do something different.
Yep. Because Channing like 100 times in this match grabbed someone's legs. You know, he grabbed Dani Luna's leg. He grabbed Li Yingling's leg. He beat up Xia Brookside or whatever. And the entire time, Phillips had to tell us, it's perfectly legal. Or Hannafan had to tell us, perfectly legal. It's a triple threat match. It's fuck off. Fuck all of you.
Perfectly legal, Drama King Matt. Perfectly legal, Drama King. Yeah. Same old shit. It's irredeemably awful.
Right. And I can't imagine why Dani Luna would want to leave this company after being pinned. Li Yingling hits her move on her. I assume she already had. She was probably already on the way out. But yeah,
Which is why she lost.
Yeah, right. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think she was probably going to lose anyway, to be honest.
Yeah,
but.
well, look, I understand that this isn't the 1991 All Japan roster. Okay, let me make that clear. But this fucking sucks, Rich. It's terrible. It's all so bad.
Soup brings up another great example. Tony Khan with a lot of good thoughts here in the chat room tonight. He says they hired Candice Michelle as an agent/producer. That says it all right there.
Yeah, like what does she have to offer? Nothing.
Right. Let's listen to Candice Michelle.
What did she ever do that was
she
good?
Could explain? I bet Dani Luna had a talk. They probably assigned Candice Michelle to a Dani Luna match, and she was like, "Yeah, I think I'm." Hey, Alex, can you talk to Tony and see if there's some availability for me? Because I just had a meeting with Candice Michelle who went over my my match with me, and I think I'm ready to get out of here. And then so after this match, we should note that backstage, Li Yingling is getting attended to in the BioFlex Recovery Center backstage.
The made-up company they use to pretend they have a sponsor. Yes.
So she's getting ice put on her shoulders or whatever, and Xia Brookside's like, I can't believe they did that. Thank God the camera was there while this conversation was happening, because then Ariana Grace and Channing Lorenzo enter from the left. Again, thank God that camera was there, and thank God everyone was mic'd perfectly for this, as Ariana Grace is like, oh, are you upset because you lost the match? And Xia Brookside's like, she didn't lose. She won. You stole her pinfall or whatever. And Ariana Grace is just like, just the words. So Santino, thank God again that Santino was in the area where this camera was. So he emerges out of nowhere from the right side of the screen and says, ho, what's going on here? Hold on a minute. Next week on Impact, it's going to be Xia Brookside versus Ariana Grace. And Ariana Grace goes, I can't believe it, Daddy. And then she runs away. And it's like,
man, Daddy, man. No, and then her boyfriend's like, oh, this is why your daughter hates you.
Right, Shannon's like, are you making yourself proud? You doing this to your daughter?
Doing this to your daughter. Fucking Rizzo from Greece shows up and says, you're doing this to your daughter.
This is why your daughter is like you. Hey.
Oh, okay.
But just the same. I
think Rizzo was a girl, but who cares?
Yeah, whatever. Who fucking cares?
Rizzo was stalking Channard, right? The girl.
Whatever. That movie stinks.
No one cares.
That movie stinks anyway. So, but like again, like my annoyance.
Kaniki from Greece. Kaniki from Greece shows up. Hey, what are you doing to your daughter?
But it's just the same type of segment that you would get on every other show. Why is a camera back there? Why are people entering from the left? Why are people entering from the right? Why is everybody mic'd perfectly? Why is it backlit? Can we just pretend to be an authentic? No, we can't. Everything has to be this.
We can't. We have to do it this way.
Yeah, because this is the way it is done.
Do it this way. Yeah.
Fuck me. All right.
Why is TNA? Is a good question. Why?
AJ Francis and Frankie Kazarian defeat Elijah and the Hometown Man.
I can't care about anything the hometown man is involved in. Just fuck off.
Yeah,
Just
away.
fuck off with this company. Fuck off with the hometown man. Fuck off with your orbs. Fuck off with your backstage segments with Kaneki. Fuck off with your fucking Order 4s. Fuck off with all of this. Fuck off with Matt Hardy getting kidnapped by WWE Dutch. Fuck all of this. Fuck it. I'm so sick of it.
And then we also had Leon Slater, Eric Young, and this match annoyed me to no end because what this was, if you have ever watched a Rey Mysterio match during the peak era of Rey Mysterio, that when he would go on TV, sometimes as champion, and he'd work 12 minutes and he would just get beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten. And a commercial would happen as SmackDown rolls on. We'd come back. He'd get beaten. He'd get beaten. He'd get beaten. He'd hit a 619, a West Coast pop, and he'd win. And everybody would go, masterful work by Rey Mysterio yet again. That's what this was. Eric Young beat the shit out of Leon Slater for 15 minutes. And then the last 16 seconds of the match, Leon Slater did some flippy-doo fucking thing and got the 1-2-3 and shocked Eric Young. Why is Leon Slater shocking Eric Young? Why should Leon Slater not just wipe the fucking floor with Eric Young?
I actually liked this match. I liked when Leon Slater did the bite on the fucking calf to break up the Styles Clash and then did one of his own. I think Eric Young is the right kind of wrestler to structure this kind of match, right? But it did come off banana peely when Leon Slater won.
Leon Slater should not be getting banana peel wins over Eric Young.
I don't know if that's the energy you want for the finish. I did enjoy the work itself, though. I thought it was a very
well. It was well worked, but again, I just think Leon Slater that's a guy you should be pushing to the moon. This is a guy who should not be spending 15 minutes trying to outwit Eric Young. He should be able to just out athletic Eric Young. I mean, Eric Young is the type of guy who can go, and again, you can do like an extended control period or whatever, but like I don't know that I needed 14 minutes of Eric Young destroying Leon Slater and then Leon Slater just getting lucky enough to hit his move to win at the end. It felt like, again, I knew the person who agented this match, definitely, producer, because we can't, I'm sure there was a producer or an agent on it, was looking at the template of the way WWE does. That's a classic WWE style, underdog match, is you get beaten and beaten and beaten, and then you hit your move and you win.
Yeah, I thought that match and the the fucking mixed tag were the only two matches worth of shit on the entire show.
Yeah.
So, and the backstage stuff and the way the stories that are in it, it's just such fucking hot garbage. It's just so bad. It's why I could only take reviewing the weekly TV for 4 or 5 weeks or however long I lasted.
Yeah, you had to
because
leave.
It's just you can. It's just so bad. Like I can't waste my life watching this kind of garbage. And here I am wasting my life again to review it for a half hour.
Well, we got Rebellion coming up on the 11th. Man,
we got to do it.
All right. Well, what the fuck? All right. I look at an image and I'm like, what the fuck is Bernie Kosar doing here? Well, there's a reason. I'm on their Wikipedia and I see the face of Bernie Kosar. And I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, clearly that's an error. No, it is not an error. So for Rebellion, which is going to be taking place from the Wolstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio, April 11th, Trey Miguel versus Mustafa Ali for the TNA International title. Trey Miguel defending that title against Mustafa Ali. Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander for the X Division title. The Hardys versus the System of Bear Bronson and Brian Myers for the TNA World Tag Team titles.
Why not fucking Dutch and Balloon Guy?
I don't know. It seems like we've gotten to that point where we should probably be, that feud seems like it's gotten pretty high. Yeah.
They'll cost them the match or something.
Frankie Kazarian versus Elijah. 6-woman hardcore country tag match. Oh, good. The Elegance brand. Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and M by Elegance versus Mickie James, ODB, and Taryn Terrell. Nick Nemeth.
What does that even mean? Ash by Elegance. Heather by what does it mean?
I don't know. I don't want to know. Frankly, I don't want to know.
Why isn't it just Ash Elegance and Heather Elegance and ML? What is the by in there for? Heather by Elegance. What does that mean? I like the concierge, though. I think he's very funny.
The concierge is good. He's a good gimmick, yeah.
Yeah. Cheap heat. Lots of cheap heat with the concierge.
Moose versus Special Agent Zero.
Well, I like Bill Collier. I think they should push him.
Definitely. They won't, but they would.
They won't.
They should, but
they will not push him.
Ariana Grace versus Li Ying Lee. They're giving up. I was told by Santino that Zaya Brookside was going to be facing Ariana Grace this week on TNA. Well, now I don't even care about that match because they're already promoting Ariana Grace versus Lee Yingli. I mean, what the fuck?
Because it's terrible company.
Oh, okay. Or maybe that match happened. You know, that match maybe happened today. Maybe I'm reading this now after today.
After the match. All right.
Yeah. Sure.
Still a terrible company, even though you're wrong. Yeah.
Nick Nemeth with Bernie Kosar versus AJ Francis. What?
Yeah. Well, we're in Cleveland.
Bernie Kosar?
Bernie Kosar.
I guess there's not that many other. If you say Cleveland Browns legend, what
Mike
would
Santana with Reggie Langhorne against Eddie Edwards?
Because I suppose if you ask, if you ask like an AI, who are the Cleveland Browns legends? I guess Bernie Kosar would be the first one that would come up, right? Who are other legends?
How about a guy named Jim Brown?
Jim Brown. Well, yeah, he ain't coming to.
How about Otto Graham? Maybe the greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
Well, I'm thinking somebody that's not.
Well, you asked for Cleveland Browns.
That's
legends.
true. That's true. Right. Maybe ones that didn't play in the '60s.
How about Kevin Mack?
Miles Garrett. Yeah, that's
Kevin Mack. Reggie Langhorne.
You nailed it. Yeah, it's Bernie Kosar and
how about Webster Slaughter? A little Webster Slaughter. Clay Matthews.
Was Clay Matthews a Brown? I don't remember him as a Brown that much, but I guess he was.
Clay Matthews? What are you talking about? You're thinking of Clay Matthews Jr.
Oh, you're talking about his dad. Okay, I was like, what? I was like, I see. Ozzie Newsome. That's a guy off the top of my head I'm trying to think of. I think that's it. Who was the offensive lineman that was pretty good for a while? They maybe draft him like first overall or whatever.
Joe Thomas.
Yeah,
Joe
there
Thomas.
you go. Get Joe Thomas out there.
These guys are too new for me. I like Webster Slaughter, Otto Graham, Clay Matthews.
Is Webster Slaughter still? I'm sure he's still alive, right?
Why wouldn't Webster Slaughter be alive?
I don't know.
It's the CTE. I mean,
Yeah. He's 61. Still alive.
Kicking around. Reggie Langhorne. I'm sure is still alive. Eric Metcalf. How about Eric Metcalf?
I remember Eric Metcalf. Yeah, that's my. Now you're in my territory of.
How about Mike Pagel? Yeah, a little Mike
I
Pagel.
don't remember Mike Pagel. No, I don't remember Mike Pagel.
How about Brian Sipe? Do you like a little Brian Sipe?
No, see, I'm out at this point, I think.
No?
Or I just don't remember I think my peak Cleveland Browns knowledge would be like 94, 95, 96, just from the video games and trading cards. So that's why I remember Eric Metcalf for sure. Who else was on the 1994 Cleveland Browns? This is a good way to end the show here.
I've named a lot of Cleveland Browns.
You've done a very good job, I will say.
I've really named a lot of Cleveland Browns.
There might not be that many more that you could.
What more you want out of me? Jeez, I'm a man, not a machine.
Yeah, that's a lot of Cleveland Browns.
A lot of fucking Cleveland Browns off the top of the dome, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want from me? I think you should have Browns from before the old Browns more than the new Browns.
Sue Williams says Leon Slater with that fullback that was on the Madden cover. Yeah, who was that dude? He was like a 1 year wonder, and he got the Madden
Rhino.
cover.
The White Rhino.
What was that man's real name?
I'm gonna let you.
Fuck, I don't remember at all.
He fucked. What's his name? He fucked Josh McDaniels' wife.
Oh,
I think.
That's not good.
The White Rhino. When he was on Denver, when they were both with Denver, I think there was something or Josh McDaniels fucked his wife. Maybe
Peyton Hillis.
I think he fucked Josh McDaniels' wife.
Interesting.
Let me see if
get that right before we that's a big allegation there.
Peyton Hillis, Josh McDaniels' wife. Did Peyton Hillis hit on Josh McDaniels' wife? There was a rumor Hillis had something going on with the coach's wife. There are longstanding rumors that Josh McDaniels traded running back Peyton Hillis from Denver because of personal jealousy, alleging Hillis was involved with his wife. Yeah. I told you. He's banging his wife. Listen, when you have a chance to fuck the White Rhino, this is what many women have told me before they've betted Joe Lanza. They say, look, I had a chance to be with the White Rhino, Joe Lanza. I got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ditch that visor wearing dork and get a ride on the White Rhino for sure. I got to take
a ride on the White Rhino. I mean, the guy's nickname's the White Rhino. You got to take a crack at that. He certainly lays pipe better than Josh McDaniels, you would think.
I would imagine, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
there's another match, and I forget what it was. It's Mike Santana versus somebody. Who cares?
It's see. Eddie Edwards who's cashing in.
Edwards. Oh, his feast or fired.
He's cashing in the feast or fired. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That your main event is Mike Santana versus Eddie Edwards?
That's TNA. They don't have any fucking
Christ.
stars. I talked about this when I did the reviews. They don't have any stars.
God, you're main eventing with Eddie Edwards in 2026?
All right, they don't have anybody else. Who are you going to main event with? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You could push Leon Slater. I mean, look, the bottom line is this. If they're not headlining with Slater versus Sosa in 6 months, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Oh, we should note that Sosa was they put pen to paper for Ricky Sosa on the show, and they gave him a hot mic, and he was not very good on the hot mic. So got to work on the promos a little bit. But
I talked about that on Flagship Plus a little bit. That signing, their goal should be in 6 months. Okay, we're headlining with Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa.
yes, right.
Because you can spin your wheels with Eddie Edwards and Mike Santana and these people. I mean,
it's just that it's spinning wheels. You're not going.
That's all you're doing. You're going to do the same 0.04 every week, the same 0.04 every week. But when you have people running the company, when you have people hired to book the company who are just desperately clinging to the last wrestling job they'll probably ever have, they're going to play it safe,
right? And doing the same bullshit stories that they've done forever and ever and ever in perpetuity.
Yeah, no one's hiring Tommy Dreamer once he's out of this job. No one's hiring Hunter Johnston once he's out of this job. They're going to play it safe because they want to cling to this fucking job as long as they can. But yeah, I mean, that's in 6 months. This is the perfect company where you can do shit like that. And just say, you know what? We're just going to push Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa. We're not going to have them on a second contract anyway because a bigger company is definitely going to come take them. So we're going to get everything we can get out of them on this one contract.
Right. In the first year of Ricky Sosa's contract, where he's going to be a world champion. He could be a world champion in 6 months.
Yeah.
Just do a rocket pack push. He beats everybody and he wins the title. Yeah. You could. They won't, but you could.
But they absolutely will not. I'll be pleasantly surprised if they do.
No, they won't.
How much wouldn't you be kind of excited? Oh, yeah,
something new, something interesting.
Rebellion's coming up. We got Leon Slater versus Ricky Sosa for the world title. These guys are going to sink or swim. It's going to be great.
No, I got Mike Santana and Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, nobody, you have no juice.
Nick Nemeth and AJ Francis. That's what I got instead. Yeah, all right. Stupid.
Company stinks.
Yeah, that's WrestleMania week, man. I don't know if I'm watching Rebellion. It's a busy week.
Yeah, it is a busy week. What's the date on that show? Are they
11th,
nuts?
April 11th.
Hold on a second.
It's the week before Mania, but I'm just saying it's a busy
okay.
week. Like I don't even know if we're going to do a flagship that week because I'll be traveling and a bunch of shit going on. Oh, it's the same day as or the next day, the day before Dynasty.
Day before Dynasty.
Yeah.
Day before Dynasty. Yeah. They're going to get all the headlines. They're going to scoop them. They're going to.
Right.
Everyone's going to be talking about Rebellion, and people are going to forget about Dynasty the next day when all of the buzz around the Mike Santana Eddie Edwards world title match. Mike Santana with Webster Slaughter at ringside against Eddie Edwards is going to get all the fucking headline. That was very smart. I'm pointing to my temple. They're scooping AEW.
Yeah. You know what? You got to hand it to Carlos. You got to hand it to Carlos. Yeah.
He would love it handed to him too.
He would certainly get in the ring and get it handed to him for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loves being front and center on those shows. So, all right. So that was TNA Sacrifice. We sacrificed for you, so hopefully you appreciated that. And this is another episode of the Flagship Podcast. So flagshippatreon.com for all of our bonus content. As we said, $5 tier, you get the bonus Dynamite review. You get a bunch of other bonus stuff. The news that you talked about earlier in the show as well, available on the $5 tier. Instant Reaction Live, that is available on the $10 tier. And we got a lot of that coming up very, very soon as AEW Dynasty, as we just mentioned, is going to be next weekend. And then WrestleMania. 2 nights of WrestleMania will have Instant Reaction Live. And then all throughout WrestleMania week and WrestleMania weekend, we will have you covered on the $5 tier. All of our bonus show reviews, with the exception of WrestleManias, will be on the $5 tier. Now, I'll be there live, so I'll be covering a bunch of shows. You'll be at home. You'll cover whatever shows I'm not watching. But we'll have it covered like nobody else, as we always do, on flagshippatreon.com. So that's the $5 tier. But if you get that $10 tier, you're going to get the WrestleMania Instant Reaction Lives. You're going to get Dynasty Instant Reaction Lives. So it's a good time to do that. You unlock everything else we've ever done on flagshippatreon.com. So definitely recommend for April. It's a good time to lock it in for April because it is going to be filled with content coming up in the next couple weeks, and previews on your way as well for WrestleMania and WrestleMania week, and plenty of stuff coming your way. So a lot of content at flagshippatreon.com. So that is it for us. That is Joe. I'm Rich. We'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Wrestling Omakase brings you a full course meal of all of Japanese wrestling, men's and women's. Join me, a Japanese wrestling fan for over 20 years, along with a rotating cast of equally knowledgeable co-hosts as we cover everything from New Japan and Stardom to Noah, All Japan, DDT, Tokyo Joshi, Mari Gold, Sendai Girls, Dragongate, GLEAT, Ice Ribbon, and even more stuff. If you're a fan of Japanese wrestling and you want coverage of the entire scene in one podcast, check us out right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network each and every week. Get us wherever you get podcasts today.